Today it is Queen Stage Day of the 75th Little Tour of Austria 2026, all the way from Bad Kleinkirchheim up to the Grossglockner. Happy to have you again, Amelie. It is going to be an impressive day, at least the last couple of Ks up to the Grossglockner.
Yes, thank you very much, Lukas, for the introduction. And yeah, we've got a really good race on our hands today. An extremely cool course racing up to Grossglockner. And we've obviously got the Austrian Gregor Mühlberger in the leader's jersey, who won the stage yesterday with a really good ride at the end. So yeah, the Austrian national team have also got a job on their hands today to try and defend that jersey and try and help him best possible.
That's for sure. Pictures of yesterday's first stage from Graz to Gamlitz, 188k and 2,716 meters in elevation gain, and we had everything in it. We had an early breakaway for probably more than 2.5 to 3 hours of 4 athletes in front, and also a GC trying to close in the gap. And with a lucky winner in the end, after a solo breakaway of approximately 15 seconds then in the last 2.5K. So everything was in it. And you said it before, the national team got a pretty intense job on their hand to protect the new GC overall leader. In the red jersey, Gregor Mühlberger. Then we have in the green jersey, Kevin Vermelke. Red and white jersey, KOM King, as his fellow teammates from Team Vorarlberg called him Tobias Nolde. Then in the black jersey, Hector Alvarez, and in the orange jersey, best Austrian, Patrick Konrad. Here the GC after yesterday's just 15-second included the bonus seconds in that gap between Gregor Mühlberger and Kevin Vermelke, and having Hector Alvarez sitting in third position, knowing that he is capable of pulling something up today at the second stage.
Yeah, I mean, today is definitely, yeah, it's a final where you have to have good legs, and if you've got bad legs, then it's not going to be a good day for the GC timing. I think yesterday was a day they all went for the stage. It wasn't a day where you're going to win the GC, but I mean, Gregor Mühlberger with his 15-second advantage, it's not big, but it's something, and I think we're going to have a great showdown up the final climb today.
Great showdown today, 100 and again 88 kilometers and nearly 3,000 meters in elevation gain, and we are able to enjoy the earlier today at the start in Bad Kleinkirchheim with the team presentation. You can see the team located in Feld am See. It is not far away from the start in Bad Kleinkirchheim, knowing for incredible winter sports, knowing for some pretty famous skiers in Bad Kleinkirchheim. Everything was ready there to send the riders onto that pretty much deciding stage here. Maybe also for the GC, a deciding one could probably be, especially with the last uphill to the Kaiser-Franz-Josef-Höhe, where maybe some gaps are going to occur then in the GC.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely see some bigger gaps today in the GC ranking. We've got a bit of a rolling start with a category 4 climb at around 60k, but then it's, yeah, as I said, relatively rolling terrain until the next Cat 4 climb at around 150 kilometers, and then from there on the proper climb really starts.
Starting on with approximately 55 to 56k with an downhill, then coming towards that first category 4 climb, which is rewarded with 4, 2 and 1 point at Afritz am See. Then we have a sprint classification in Feld am See, another one at Millstatt, and then we are starting to reach the Mölltal and going up to another category 4 climb, and in the end at the top of it we have the highest category with the horse category. And now just enjoy an interview there from earlier today.
A short recap from yesterday's stage.
It was at the end a super fast one. I was pretty lucky with the guys who positioned me pretty well, and yeah, at the end it was I guess a bit up to the legs, but yeah, from the last climb until the finish it was quite long alone, so I was pretty lucky that also the guys in the back kind of struggled to race with each other and to pull me back, but yeah, at the end I'm really grateful to take the win.
So how was your night, because whole Austria was celebrating your victory?
I had a good night. I have a super good roommate, and yeah, we're ready for today. I can't wait. The weather is good, and yeah, let's go.
How supportive will be the team today?
Extremely. I mean, without the team, I'm nothing. So I really need them. I need every one of them, and yeah. So I hope. Yeah. Well, I guess the guys are motivated. Everybody of them is in good shape, so yeah, we will try to keep the jersey today, and let's see. We will do our best, at least.
We will do our best. Gregor Mühlberger in the red jersey, and now let's enjoy the overview about stage number 2. Nearly 3,000 meters in elevation gain, and especially with that Franz-Josef-Höhe at the end. After a 150k of pure racing spirit and also probably some attacks by those incredibly strong riders, will that one be the deciding part of today's stage?
Yeah, I think we'll have a breakaway that will want to go with some of the country riders again, obviously going for the sprint classifications. But as you said, it's 2,900 meters of climbing today, and the majority of the climbing is at the end. It's around 1,300 meters of climbing all at once at the end. So the breakaway, I think up there will be a breakaway, but there's obviously a GC battle as well today.
So starting on from Bad Kleinkirchheim, going towards Himmelberg. Then we will reach Feldkirchen in Carinthia, Bogensdorf, and we do have again a neutralized zone about 2.4k, and with waving the green flag we were able to witness the first attack there by Schwingshandel Intralogistics. Early start, then Benotti Berdold again was trying to close in the gap up to that first breakaway try of today. We had a pretty nervous peloton, which we are able to see here, and then for sure also a mechanical by Michi Gogel, and it took him quite some time to reach the peloton again. He was sitting behind the convoy then, but here we having back closed the gap to the peloton, and then another impressive breakaway started with then having more than 5 minutes of distance between them and the peloton. And you mentioned it before, the Austrian national team is in charge probably today for bringing Gregor Mühlberger in the GC up to the Grossglockner.
Yeah, it was definitely a fight today to get into that breakaway. It took quite a while, but then you saw the Austrian national team, they were happy with who were up the road, and then they decided to shut the attacks down, and now they're probably going to be riding on the front of the peloton, just keeping them at the right distance.
Yeah, in the breakaway, there is Nolde, Rush, Meinberg, Bjune, Schabok, Hatz, Schmidbauer, Evertsen, Hegerberg and Brenner in it, and Schabo secured all those sprint classifications earlier here today from the team Foster. And so we will be, or we are actually live in the action. 2 hours and 4 minutes of actual racing today, and 86.1 K are still left to go. And as you can see here, Amelie, those mountains starting to get bigger and bigger.
Yeah, definitely. I think climbers will look forward to that view, seeing those big mountains ahead. Maybe the sprinter or puncher riders won't be looking forward to this stage today, but I mean, I am. I'm looking forward to the stage because we've got a good breakaway up the road. It's a nice size and they're working really well together. They haven't been able to get, or the peloton isn't letting them get too far away, not like yesterday where we had I think 10 minutes at one point. So they're just keeping them on a shortish leash, but they've still got 2 minutes 30.
That's Chase Group 1, and here we are back with that big breakaway, as I said before, Nolde here in the red and white jersey. Then Rush, Meinberg, Bjune, Lukas Hatz is in it, and Schmidbauer from Schwingshandel Intra Logistics. And that team has a pretty detailed mission plan for today. Schwingshandel Intra Logistic, they wanted to bring somebody into that breakaway and they managed it. So they said it before, that's their main goal. And for Team Vorarlberg also, just having one in the breakaway, probably not the best situation for them to get Nolde up there, to keep Nolde in the white and red jersey, but still 85k to go, still plenty of time to turn everything around.
Yeah, they all would have had a team meeting last night, had a quick recap of stage 1, and they would have had a talk about how they want to race today's stage. And as you mentioned before, those teams, they had the directions, or they got told you need to get into the breakaway. And it's quite easy to say, but sometimes to actually, especially when there's a big fight like there was this morning with the nervous peloton, it's definitely a challenge to try and get into the breakaway. But they've managed it with one rider. Nolde obviously was in the breakaway yesterday for a really long time, so I'm sure he'll be feeling his legs today. But I mean, great for him to be back in the breakaway. But I think it was 125k he was out with those other three riders yesterday. So yeah.
That was quite an impressive one. And talking about impressive riders in the lineup, we said it yesterday, one of the main top contenders, Jan Kirsten from UAE Team Emirates, was not in a perfectly positioned yesterday then after the first stage.
Yeah, Jan Kirsten, I think he also lost a bit of time yesterday. He came in the 67th position, so he's pretty much out of the GC standings now. I think he's got a gap of 3 minutes 48, so he might be looking for today's stage, or there'll be team directions where he's now a helper.
We know he is a pretty strong climber, or counting to the strongest climbers in that field, and maybe it was a bit of an energy saving stage yesterday, or there was something feeling not well then. But we will see today if he is capable again of showing us his 100% performance there.
Yeah, of course, maybe UAE Team Emirates at XRG have come here with a different plan. Jan Kirsten to go for today's stage, maybe to save a tiny bit of energy yesterday. Maybe Kevin Vermerker, who came second in yesterday's stage, maybe he's their GC guy. He's sitting at 15 seconds at the moment behind the Austrian Gregor Mühlberger.
So Maximilian Schmidbauer, Austrian under 23 road race champion, and also dedicated climber of the Austrian team here, Schwingshandler. So also here, strong climbers are positioned in that early breakaway.
Yeah, I think that's also the reason why we're not seeing massive gaps. I mean, we're at 3 minutes now, so it is going out a tiny bit, but I doubt that the peloton's going to want this breakaway to go into the climb with a 6-minute advantage.
Let's talk a little bit about that very last climb up to the Franz-Josef-Höhe. 20, starting with the KOM at Winklan at 150k, all the way up to Heiligenblut with the 75th bonus, and then Kazarek KOM category 1, which means rewarded with 12, 8, 6, 4 and 2 points, and then all the way up to the finish, the horse category. Here we have that reward of 15 to 4 points, and that one is a brutal one.
Yeah, if you look at the profile, you've got 2 climbs, a category 1 and a hill climb at the end. But if you look at it in a rider's perspective, it's one big climb. Like, it's 1,300 meters, but it's divided up into 2 climbs. You got a 9.3 kilometer climb with 800 meters of climbing, averaging 8.5%. And then you've got the second climb, which is 8.2 kilometers long, 518 meters of climbing, averaging 6.1%. And there's roughly a 2 kilometer descent between them two. So there's a very short recovery, but in reality, it's one big climb, the 1,300 meters of climbing. So it's a real tough one today.
That's a real tough one for sure. Also for those big breakaway group, mainly all from the continental teams. And speaking about the continental teams, yesterday Tyrol KTM Cycling did an impressive job with bringing one of that strong rider into the first group there.
Yeah, they did a really good job yesterday. They had the best Conti rider. He came 11th, I think. He was in that breakaway group, fighting for the top 10 position. So he did a really strong ride yesterday. And also with Samuel Novak then coming in 15th position with a minute down, I think. So yeah, a really strong ride from the Tyrol KTM boys yesterday. They weren't in the breakaway, but that must have been their tactic to go. They knew they had a good climber with Lukas Günther, so they went all in for the stage result.
So Nico and Samuel, I guess those two coming straight from the high altitude training into that Tour of Austria, same like Jonas Holzknecht, also an impressive climber in that under 23 team. It is the youngest team here in the Rooster, and also the team captain and team manager of Tyrol KTM Cycling says that all is working for those 2 athletes, those 2 riders who are capable of sitting somewhere between all those World Tour team athletes, then at the top at the Kaiser-Franz-Josef-Höhe.
Yeah, I think they've got a couple of cards to play today. I'm not quite sure if they'll be focusing on a GC standing or if they're going to go for a good stage result again today. I mean, Nicolas Günther did an incredible climb yesterday, but they've also got the likes of Jonas Holzknecht, who we know is an extremely good climber, and this climb really suits him today.
So we've seen Tobias Nolde with the red and white jersey, winner of the Memorial Andrzeja Troganskiego Tour. It's pretty hard to pronounce it, but also stage winner of the Tour of Bulgaria 2022, and probably one of the most proven rider in the Team Vorarlberg Rooster. And Team Vorarlberg for sure is working for him then when it's all the way up then.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, good that he's made it into the breakaway again today. I'm sure he would have preferred to maybe have a teammate with him just to help him, but I mean, yeah, really strong riding for him to be up there again today. As you can see here, the Austrians, I think that's Sebastian Putz on the front, just controlling the peloton, and looks like there's a lot of headwind today, and it's just a gradual climb up around, I think it's averaging like 1%, so 1% plus headwind. That's a tough ride.
That's a tough ride. So the Austrian national team working for Gregor Mühlberger in that team. Gregor Mühlberger, Alexander Hayek. Then we have Valentin Hofer, Rainer Keplinger, Sebastian Putz and Paul Remniak. And we have an average speed right now of 48.8 kilometers per hour.
Yeah, that's extremely fast. I mean, we did have a descent at the beginning of the day, but they've also done a bit of climbing. They've still got 2,100 meters of climbing to do, but yeah, it's quite extremely quick actually, especially if we've got headwind at the moment.
3 minutes and 20 seconds, 24 seconds gap between the breakaway and the peloton. But the advantage is with that weather conditions right now and wind conditions, surely with the peloton here than with the breakaway, because it's more easier for them to do those dynamic changes in positioning, especially in the front of the peloton, than for the breakaway.
Yeah, we saw the UAE team and Ineos on the front yesterday, but now that Austria are in the leader's jersey, everyone looks at them and they have to do the work today. So yeah, a tough day for the Austrian boys, but they're doing well at the moment.
We have Albu Feld am See also lined up in front. Weser KTM Graz. Then we see Paul Vermniak there on the right-hand side, and now all those other teams. Repsol. We've seen Jaco Elula. UAE somewhere in between. Jan Christensen and also Antonio Morgado.
Yeah, so Austria have sent 2 riders up to the front, and that will be their job, to pace it to the bottom of the climb, and then that will be their day done for today. And then the rest of the Austrian squad will try and position Gregor Mühlberger into the bottom of the climb, because it's then they will help him as much as possible, but then it's really up to him to then show what he's got and see what his legs can do.
That's also what Sebastian Putz said. His job is to bring Gregor Mühlberger into that bottom of the climb, and then trying to reach the finish in the gruppetto there, to save legs, to save power, to save strength for the upcoming stages. And then now being in a slight downhill.
Yeah, it's just a slight downhill, but it's still, we've got around 50 kilometers to go until the bottom of the climb, 50 to 60 kilometers, and that's all just a gradual climb up.
From the hilly parts of southern Styria all the way to Carinthia, and then coming into that highest finish of the Tour of Austria with a huge history. Then since 1952 we have the Glockner King up there, and the last Austrian winner was Felix Großschartner 2015 and Gregor Mühlberger 2014, which means it is a place, it is a road, it is a stage suitable for, or perfectly fit for Gregor Mühlberger. So we will see what will happen
Yeah, I mean, he also showed us this year in the Giro d'Italia, helping Felix Gall, but he was incredible on the climbs as well. Being there, keeping him out of the wind, keeping him protected, and now he's got his own chance, he's got his own team working for him, so I think he'll be ready for today's stage.
That's not just a little bit of headwind, that is a blower headwind there, and you look onto the grass next to the road. That's a pretty tough task for the breakaway to keep that gap open, but still are able to manage that 3 minutes and 44 seconds actually of gap between them and the peloton, with the Austrians again in front right now, with Valentin Hofer leading the peloton, followed by Sebastian Putz. Then we have Eze Albu with 4 riders, and then Schwingshandel Intra Logistics. So again, the strong Austrians, especially those 2 strong Austrians, Conti teams, are playing it well right now.
Yeah, they're playing it well, but they've got 2 riders up front doing this, or pulling of the peloton, and the gap is slowly, or it's always getting a little bit bigger, because we've got the 9 riders up front who are working really well together. So it's obviously going to be a bit tough for these 2, but they're just trying to keep it to they would have arranged a gap this morning, what they want to keep it at, or what the maximum gap should be at the bottom of the climb, and that's just what they'll try and keep it at. And as soon as it's too much, or maybe there's too much headwind, they'll then just get another teammate up front and they can just help do the pulling.
In direction of the Mölltal, right now you can see that huge train bridge in the upper left-hand corner of the screen. Road conditions are pretty epic here in that part of the stage.
Yeah, it's always nice racing on big wide roads. Obviously now with the headwind it's not quite as nice. I would rather be on some twisty turny roads which are a bit sheltered from the wind, but it looks good road surface, and so yeah, there's nothing in the way of a fast race.
Having the team cars in it, like yesterday, and like in every race, that rule of being under a minute, under 2 minutes, or a minute and a half, then they have to move. So still plenty of time to keep them well hydrated and well fed there.
Yeah, and again today with the weather, it looks warm, but it's not. The sun isn't really burning down, so it looks good. As we can see the chalkboard here, 3 minutes 45. Also nice for the riders to see a visual, because sometimes the team radio doesn't work well, or it's always just nice to see the time gap. So yeah, 3 minutes 45. It's going up. I think we've been on for 10 kilometers now, roughly. And it's gone up a minute. So yes, it's looking good for the break. They're working really well together. And yeah, see how much of a gap the peloton wants this break to get.
I believe, or I guess, that they will, as soon we are reaching that first KOM Winklen, or the first category 4 climb, they will close in the gap pretty soon, or at latest at Heiligenblut at the 75th classification then. And for all of you want to know what the 75th classification is, it is classification, the classification to memorize or to honor the late Wolfgang Steinmeier, who sadly passed away in May 26, and he also was that one winning the Glockner King, and 2 times at 1972 and 1975, and there was just one Austrian better than him, Rudolf Mitteregger, 4 times winner of the Glockner King, 1970, 71, 73, and 74. So we celebrate history. It's the huge slogan of the Lidl Tour of Austria, and for sure having the Grossglockner again in the stage overview, or having him again as a stage finish, is no better way to celebrate that history.
No, yeah, it's a really nice bonus sprint they've added on this year. And yeah, I mean, that might be a chance for, maybe this breakaway will be aiming for that sprint. I think it looks like the peloton's happy with this breakaway, getting over 4 minutes now, so maybe they'll let the breakaway get to the bottom of the climb with a couple of minutes, and it will just be then down to the big climbers from the World Tour teams, maybe also from the Conti teams, to try and close the gap and bring the breakaway back. Or maybe we're up for a surprise and the breakaway will make it today.
So far it is a scenic stage, as we can call it, but it becomes more and more selective if soon we will start with the climb up. But the body language so far by those in the breakaway are pretty good.
Yeah,
I would say.
Yeah, no, they're looking good. You can just see in that picture before how they were all riding a little bit next to each other. They're not behind each other anymore. That means that the wind is coming a bit from the side. So to protect yourself even more, or to have even more advantage of the draft, then you overlap your wheels a little bit, and that's what we saw then. That's why they were all riding next to each other. I'm sure the peloton will also start doing that when they get to that section of the course. It must be a little bit twisty and turny, this road, and then the wind direction always changes a little bit.
Winklen is that one, opens the last final third, and here it is mentioned already, Grossglockner, Malnitz in the middle of the Mühltal. So all team cars are right now going next to the peloton.
Yeah, they're the cars that, so the Swannies will be in those cars driving up ahead to get to the next feed station. So they've still got all the team cars with the DSs and mechanics behind, and they're the next, or they're the second team car which drive ahead of the race, so that the Swannies can stand on the side of the road and hand the bottles out to the riders. Because otherwise, if they have to drive around, or this might just be one valley road, then they can't easily get to the next feed station. One doesn't often see it, but sometimes when they have to go on the same route, then it's quite easy to pass a peloton on a big wide road like this.
Here we have them pushing hard, and we're able to build up that gap towards 4 minutes. 4 minutes already. Maybe they used that momentum pretty good, where all those cars passing by the peloton.
Using a little bit of the draft, maybe.
The draft.
Yeah, but they're just all setting a high tempo. They're all taking the same turns, and they've all pretty much got the same goal here today, just to try and stay out for as long as possible. Again, they've been out for a long time already, and there's still 70 kilometers of racing to do, but they're working well together, and it's a nice composition of teams. So I think everyone will be happy with the race situation at the moment.
Let's talk a little bit about tactics. We know it is, until the start of the climb, a pretty easy stage. As you want to say that, until reaching 150k. It is probably also the fact that it is that easy that all those World Tour teams are sitting in the middle of the peloton and not trying to do or to start any move here towards catching those breakaway again, or are they happy with it right now and thinking about, so if the uphill starts, we will catch them for sure?
Yeah, it's an easy ride for everyone who can hide in the peloton. You got the Austrians on the front, and you saw a picture before. some of them are hardly pedaling at the back because you just, especially when it's headwind, it's super easy then in the peloton, in the bunch. It's definitely not easy for a breakaway. But as you mentioned, Gregor Mühlberger and all the favourites will be able to save their energy for the upcoming climb. And I'm sure they will be happy for a breakaway to make it to the bottom of the climb because, as I mentioned before, it's a really long climb. It's almost 20 kilometres. And it's pretty much a 55 minutes all-out effort. And they will all be able to look at the results which these riders have been able to ride, or the results from this year, from the previous years. And they won't want to give them too much time, but I'm sure they'll be happy giving the breakaway 2 to 3 minutes on this big climb because, yeah, they know how strong Gregor Mühlberger is, or other GC contenders, maybe a Jan Christen for today's stage. So
there are some of top contenders. Carlos Rodriguez.
Yes, again, Net Company, true. They're here with, I think, two contenders this year.
Yeah.
We also saw Paul Double yesterday. He was setting an extremely high pace on the climb. He was the one animating the whole race and towards the end, if you ask me. Or he made that, after Niels and Paulus attacked, he attacked over the top and he was just setting a really high pace. And that's what created that select group of 12 riders yesterday. And then Gregor Mühlberger was able to use his experience and attack at the right time and then managed to hold off that whole group. But definitely Paul Double showed us a good climbing legs yesterday.
And also in the top 10 already again from Net Company Ineos, Andrew August, the American, after last year's incredible performance at the Tour of Austria, also knowing that he is a second big GC option for Ineos, could also be somebody to have on the list for the stage win today. And for sure, as you said, Gregor Mühlberger, but Antonio Morgado from UAE, and maybe some others, Igor Arietta.
Or maybe also Bauke Mollema. He came second in the Tour de Suisse mountain classification, was in a breakaway twice there. So it's a different type of race. It's not a World Tour race where you know every single rider, you know all of their strengths. You've obviously got these Conti riders. Maybe they'll be able to surprise us a bit, and not all World Tour teams will maybe be looking into the Conti riders as such. They'll be focusing on the World Tour riders, so maybe there'll be a chance for a Conti rider to prove his strengths.
That would be amazing to see a Conti rider on the top of the podium at the Grossglockner, but also just to have Thibaut Del Grosso, Alpecin Premier Tech, yesterday in 12th position, also known as a huge and a big and a strong climber, or Andrea Baioli. So those are the names who are for sure capable of bringing home that stage for their teams at the Queen stage today, but still having those riders in the breakaway with a gap of 3 minutes and 15 right now, working perfectly together. The cooperation is in sync.
Yeah, the cooperation's really good. You got 9 riders, so 5 more than yesterday, which is obviously, well, it's a big help. And yeah, it consists of Conti riders again. But Tobias Nolde got some good experience yesterday how to race a long breakaway, so maybe he'll be able to pass on some tips for the other riders.
Nolde having that red and white jersey on his shoulders, and also got a bit of a wings there after yesterday's excellent performance at stage 1. As you said, more than 120k in the breakaway. So still got fresh legs.
Yeah, well, I'm not quite sure how fresh they'll be, but I mean they're obviously
kind of fresh now.
Kind of fresh to be in the breakaway today, yeah. definitely. We've got 2 Austrians in the breakaway, 3 German riders, Polish rider and an Australian and a Norwegian rider. So a nice mix of
mixed
countries as well. And we've also got Mauro Brenner again in the breakaway.
He was yesterday also in the breakaway.
Yep, so also a big day for him yesterday. He also tried to maybe push on a tiny bit on the last climb, but yeah, the pros or the World Tour riders could just save so much energy during the whole stage that they then just came from behind and pretty much swallowed the breakaway. But they had a really good run yesterday.
Team Vorarlberg at the back of the peloton. Yeah, that's a different kind of tactic, I would say.
Yeah, I saw an interview from Jonas Vingegaard yesterday for their stage yesterday. It was pretty much a sprinter stage. So they just decided as a whole team to ride at the back of the peloton, because you either want to ride at the front of the peloton or at the back, because sometimes in the middle it's a bit hectic, a bit stressful, and yeah, if you're doing a stage race, you just want to save as much energy as possible, if it's physical but also mental energy, focusing the whole time. So they decided to stay at the back of the peloton. Obviously there's a bit of a risk in case somebody decides to go and attack off the front, but Team Vorarlberg have obviously got Tobias Nolde in the breakaway, so they're not worried about that. They don't have to do any chasing, so they'll just be hanging out the back of the peloton, saving as much energy as possible. And yeah, they also haven't got that stress of racing in the middle of the bunch.
So the national team now having 3 riders in front of the peloton. Still, that's Alberfeld am See, connected to them or glued to the back wheels. Yeah,
you can also see Gregor Mühlberger has just moved a little bit further to the front of the race. And they've now put 3 riders on the front, as you mentioned, and the gap's already under 4 minutes. So I reckon 4 minutes is their benchmark of a maximum time that they want to give this breakaway today.
67.2 or 67k at 150. We have kind of the start of the climb up, so a couple of more Ks to go for the breakaway, and then it's going to be that decisive climb up to the Kaiser-Franz-Josef-Höhe.
Yeah, they've still got around, I'd say, 40 kilometers. They've averaged 47 up until now, so they'll be riding at around, I think they're riding around 45 kilometers an hour. So just under an hour until the climb starts. So yeah, I mean, fueling's incredibly important, because you have to arrive as fresh as possible to the bottom of this climb, and fueling just plays a big role in that. I think we also actually heard from a couple of riders yesterday that it isn't as cool as we thought it was sitting here. It looks relatively a nice race temperature, but I think we heard that it was a bit hot and quite humid, and the humid heat always makes it a big struggle. And even if it's maybe only 24, 25 degrees, if the humidity's high, then it just makes everything way hotter. So that's also an important factor today, to keep the core temperature down heading into the climb. So here we have Michael Gorgel as well. He was also in the breakaway yesterday, the newly crowned Austrian champion. He came 6th place yesterday. He was in a breakaway for 151 kilometers, actually, at the Tour Austria. Sorry, I can't pronounce that one. So it'll be interesting. Maybe he will have some climbing legs today for the Alpecin Premier Tech rider. Yeah, I think we've got a lot of good contenders for today's stage.
As I said before, Tibor Del Grosso from Alpecin Premier Tech. Now, in fact, having Michael Gogel as the Austrian national champion in the rooster, but knowing that Tibor is a well-known climber or a strong climber. The thing is, who is working for who?
Yeah, I think Del Grosso definitely could be an interesting one again. Yeah, along with Jan Christen, Igor Arietta, Paul Dabo. Yeah, we got lots of yeah,
Big names.
big names. Yeah.
In a big queen stage up to the Grossglockner. Perfect weather. It's sunny. Yesterday we had, early on from the start, quite a bit of rain, quite a bit of wind from northeast. But today, only having right now slight headwind, it is way better. And they're reaching Flattach right now. It is a small village in the Mölltal, going straight towards that well-known village called Heiligenblut, known for a long heritage of mountaineering and climbing and skiing for sure, which is also that gate to the Grossglockner. The
Yeah.
highest mountain in Austria, having a border, and three different parts of Austria are coming together there. Tyrol, Salzburg and Carinthia.
Yeah, and it's a really nice road there riding on here, pretty much through a valley, so you got mountains left and right of you. Normally this road, I've never actually ridden on it. Maybe I should do a trip down there.
You should try it for sure, it's beautiful.
Yeah, they're riding towards Lienz at the moment, and then they'll take a right turn, and from there on the climb slowly starts getting serious up to Grossglockner.
They are always perfectly lined up, keeping that gap wide open and still having 63k to go. Also, interesting message we received from the team Henko at Varix. They were pretty happy with yesterday's stage, and they had her favorite candidate in the breakaway. Got them 2 times onto the podium, and also being rewarded as the most active rider. And they're still aiming for that white and red jersey. So Rinko Advarex for sure is going towards that point classification, and the game plan for today is being again pretty active and try to bring Ricardo Zeudel and Richard at the GC in a position where they can fight with the others, and having still the chance to be somewhere to find on top of the GC list then. And for sure also that stage is yeah, perfect stage for those 2 athletes here to be somewhere at the top, or even though all the way up at the top. That's what Dominik Rinkov, the team chef, said and told us. It's incredible to get such precious insights out of each and every team there at the Tour of Austria.
Yeah, Ricardo Zeudel is definitely proven that he's a good climber. This year in a stage race in Poland, it was a 2.2 race. He finished second on a mountaintop finish. So I think he could definitely be a contender. He also raced the Tour of Alps this year. So he will definitely be one of the riders from the Conti teams that we could look out for.
Going through some constructions here, using especially that time of the year in that well-known regions for winter sport to get everything again sorted, to be prepared. And yeah, out of Außerdigand, I guess, was written here towards that goal at the very end. Still some work to do for them.
Yeah, definitely, because they've still got 60k of riding to do, and they're at they've got around, yeah, it looks like it's flat, but it isn't. They've still got 400 meters of climbing to do before they even get to the bottom of the climb. So it's just a gradual climb up over the 40k, just a gradual climb, averaging 1 to 2%. So yeah, they need to try and save their energy as best possible in the breakaway. In the peloton, it's pretty easy, or easier to save energy, should I say?
Yeah, for you, it's pretty easy then.
Easier to save energy. Yeah.
We've just seen Loic Bettendorf from Rinko Advarix yesterday also in the breakaway in it. So that one was that favorite athlete, or that athlete they wanted to see on the podium there. Had some pretty nice sprint decisions with Tobias Nolde at stage number 1. Right now somewhere at the back to find off the peloton, saving some energy, saving some breath for that last task then coming up.
Yeah, some riders today will also just be thinking about saving as much energy as possible on a stage like today. Like Sebastian Putz mentioned, I think earlier, he's going to do his ride on the front, and then he'll go into the gruppetto and just try and get to the finish, saving as much energy as possible. Obviously, he's putting a big effort in now on the front, but some of the sprinters or punchier riders who are focusing on maybe tomorrow's stage or Sunday stage will just be looking to stay in the peloton as long as possible, get to the bottom of the climb, and then just get to the top within the time limit.
Yesterday we had 130 athletes lined up. Today again 130, which means nobody dropped out due to that 15% time limit rule at the Tour of Austria. So also nice to see each and everyone back in the field, but probably it could be today for some of them, but
yeah, I mean, you can definitely lose some time, but I think if you can get to the bottom of the climb with the peloton and the breakaways not too far up the road, then it should be possible for all the riders again to make it in the time limit today. And yesterday I think we had a small little crash with a Schwinghandel rider, but I think that was all good. And I think also Nicolas Günther mentioned he had a little trouble in the final.
In the final 200 meters before the finish line, he unfortunately lost the chain, slipped out of the pedal, and yeah, kind of scratched the concrete there.
But he was very lucky that he managed to stay upright and even managed to stay in or within 1 second of the group crossing the finish line, so he still got the same time. So yeah, very lucky there.
Still in a perfect position then, but now we have a little time to talk about our personal predictions up to the Grossglockner.
Today I'm going to start. I'm going to ask you what your prediction is. I started yesterday.
Okay, you started yesterday. So my predictions are, I guess the Austrian national team is working at their best, trying to bring Gregor Mühlberger up to that Glockner, and he said he is ready for it and he is capable of catching that stage to win. So my predictions are Gregor Mühlberger, then Igor Arrieta is one to have a look at. That's my two predictions.
Okay. My prediction is that we're going to have a reduced sprint out of a couple of riders. Or going into the final 2 kilometers, we'll have a little group of riders. And I think definitely Gregor Mühlberger will be there. Paul Double, Carlos Rodriguez, maybe Jan Christen. So I'm actually going to go for Paul Double today.
Oh, really?
He surprised me yesterday.
Yeah.
He showed some really good climbing legs. I'm not quite yeah, I mean, it's a long climb. Yesterday was a short climb, but yeah, he showed some really good legs yesterday.
Maybe we get some predictions by the viewers in the chat, or do you have any technical questions about being a pro cycling athlete? Just ask Amelie. She is happy to answer everything. Or, right, Amelie?
Yes, I'm happy to answer any questions.
So hit the keyboard and ask us something. And in the meantime, still having that breakaway in front, rad-net.
Yeah, so I think Paul Double is actually, I think he could, just looking back at his results, so he's had this year Tour de Suisse, 4th in the mountain classification, in a breakaway on the last stage, and always just riding, and also Tour of the Alps, of a big climbing race. Maybe he can surprise us today. And from the continental teams, have you got anybody you are eyeing out today?
Tobias Nolde is pretty strong. Then for sure also Tyrol KTM cycling team is some team to look at, with Jonas Holzknecht especially, the under 23 team. And yeah, I would say that also Schwinshandel Intralogistics is aiming for a top spot there with that incredibly strong team. So they are all capable of doing something great up to the Grossglockner, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I think I'm really excited to see these continental riders racing up a climb, because it isn't necessarily that often that you actually get the chance to do a big climb like this with 1,300 meters of climbing. It's quite often in these UCI races that you've got more of a punchier climbs, shorter climbs. So yeah, some of them might have not had the chance yet this year to show their climbing legs. And I think Jonas Holzknecht, he was at altitude in Ötztal, and he also went on a training ride, and I think he got the KOM up the Timmersjoch climb, which is obviously a very prestige climb. A lot of road bikers got that climb, so he's obviously also showing that he's in good form. I think he had a crash in the under 23 national championships with a broken bike and some little scratches on the legs, some wounds on his legs, but he is fine. He is able again, he's fit again, so everything should be perfectly lined up for Jonas Holzknecht and to battle the Austrian version of the Tourmalet. Yeah. Yes, today is also Tourmalet stage in the Tour de France, so it's a very good day to be watching bike racing. Very good day.
But you better stick to the Tour of Austria, because
yes, definitely. I mean, it's also going to be, we're going to be finished earlier, so it's going to be a perfect timing. Watch the Tour of Austria from now until the finish, Grossglockner, go out for a short bike ride, and then go home to watch the Tourmalet.
And for sure the Tour of Austria is that platform for upcoming riders at the Tour de France. There's just one name we could mention, Isaac Del Toro.
Maybe you don't even have to mention the name, maybe just mentioning the country would be enough. I think the viewers will then know.
The Mexican Isaac Del Toro.
Yeah, he did a good ride the other day in the Tour, and now is in the helping duty of Pogacar, but as you said, he raced the Tour of Austria, and it was a good springboard platform for him.
Yeah, that's for sure. And to have a little overview, we are having more than 800k and 11,000 meters in elevation gain to sum up all those 5 stages.
Yeah, we have got 22 different nationalities in this race this year. I'm just checking the question to see if there are any Ethiopian races in this year's little Tour of Austria.
And yes, Manuela, it is Amelie Cooper. Bringing all those insights. And
no, there aren't any Ethiopian races in this year's race, but there are 22 different nationalities here, so a broad spectrum of riders, nationalities, all coming, or the most of them will probably be coming fresh from the national championships in their home country, and then coming straight to the beautiful country of Austria, the beautiful countryside.
so 7 World Tour teams are in that Brewster, and for sure also, as you said, many national champions. We got the Swiss, we got the Portuguese, we got the Austrian, we got a couple of under 23 national champions, and that's it. That is the Grossglockner High Alpine Road. That one to conquer, that one to beat, and 48 kilometers, 36 hairpin bends, leads all the way through the national park with a little tunnel of 1.2 kilometers to overcome, and that's it. That is the Grossglockner. South side of it with the famous Pallavicini Rene or couloir down, and the glacier.
Yeah, and even some snow still at the top of the mountains up there. So it probably will be maybe a little bit cool up there. The riders need to make sure they get their cherry juice in at the end of the race, and then they get a jacket on and either head down to the bus. I'm not quite sure what the logistical plan is of today's stage, if they have to ride back down the Grossglockner climb, or if the team buses will be at the top and they can just get on the rollers and go down by car.
Get down by car towards Lienz then, where in the near of Lienz we have the start of stage 3, and having there also tomorrow another mountaintop finish to St. Johann Alpendorf. And as we can remember, last year that was an intense battle between the 2 UAE riders, an uphill sprint, but Isaac del Toro was that one in front.
Yeah, tomorrow it's around 170 meters climb to the finish, so a completely different finish to today's stage. It's still a climb, but it's definitely one for the punchy riders. We've got a couple of Cat 3 climbs tomorrow, a Category 2, and the final finish is a Category 3 climb. So today's is one more for the climber, where we've got a Cat 1 and a hill climb.
Being in a tunnel for quite a long time then tomorrow, Felbertauern. It is the connection between Salzburg and East Tyrol. I guess it's somewhere around 8 or 9k long.
Yeah. Also a new experience maybe for some riders, racing in a tunnel.
Probably, yeah. But it will be nice and nice temperature in it.
So we have a question in the chat. If all radios fail today, how would that change the race tactics? That's an
Are
interesting
you asking
one.
me right now as a
No.
non-expert, or?
I was just reading out the question. That's an interesting one. If all radios fail, then we've still got the motorbikes with the chalkboard to show the breakaway riders and the peloton the time gap. They all would have had a briefing before the stage, probably yesterday evening, what the ideal race scenario is. So we've got a breakaway away at the moment, and we've got the 3 riders from the Austrian national team on the front of the peloton, just keeping this gap around for the 4-minute mark. So yeah, they would have had a talk last night saying this is the maximum gap we want to have at the bottom of the Glockner König, and then when they get to the climb and they're within that time gap, and then the radios maybe don't play such a big role because the climbers know what they have to do. They just have to set their pace, depending what type of rider it is. Some like to set a hard pace from the bottom and just race a constant hard pace. Some others like to be a bit on-off racing, attacking and then following an attack or settling down in a rhythm. So yeah, that's down to the riders. The radios don't really help there. It's always nice to have maybe somebody in your ear shouting at you, trying to encourage you, but when you're on the climb itself, you don't necessarily need a radio. It's just nice for the chasing now. Maybe if the Austrian national team say they need another rider up front, then the DS from the car behind will just give them that info. And also, road furniture. All the DSs have the road book in front of them with Velo Viewer or any other software, just telling them where there's danger on the road. So, but otherwise, the race itself, I think, on the climb, you don't necessarily need a radio.
Being 138.37k in the race, 49.2 still to go, and it was a pretty long approach through those valley roads. Still, the Austrian national team controls that peloton. Feet and reset pretty much are kind of done right now, I would say. There's a couple of more opportunities to get something into the body, but that clock for the real climbing is slowly but steady start to tick for them, because at 149k, that Winklen opens up the final third.
Yeah, so they've got 48.8k of racing left, and around 23 kilometers are uphill, so they've got 25k to get all the food in. Some riders might be having a gel on the climb as well, because it is around an hour, but yeah, they need to be full by the time they get to the bottom of the climb.
But still having 4 minutes and 30 second gap.
Yep.
Here.
I think the Austrian tactic will be keep the gap around 4 minutes to get to the bottom of the climb, and I reckon by the time they're within 5k of the climb, they'll already start putting the hammer down and want to get it to 3 minutes, I think.
3 minutes, same predictions like yesterday, 2
Yes.
minutes, and then you were right with the 15 seconds then.
That was the only thing I was right with.
That was pretty accurate for Gregor Mühlberger then in the GC, but just having 15 seconds of advantage towards the second place. Kevin Vermeeke from UAE Team Emirates. Then Hector Alvarez, Bauke Mollema, Andrea Baioli, 2, 3 Lidl Trek team riders in the top 5. So they're slowly starting, probably bringing the domestiques into the right position to spend their energy for the GC contenders. So I guess it's still open. GC is for sure still open here. 15 seconds is just a little glimpse.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yesterday was definitely a stage where one could lose the GC, but you're not going to be able to win it normally. Maybe we saw with Jan Christen, maybe he was never here with GC ambitions, but I think it's going to be a tough ask to get 3 minutes 30 back on this climb, because like the likes of Gregor Mühlberger are just super strong on a climb. So yeah, we got 29k to get to the bottom of the first big climb with 9.4 kilometers, averaging 8.5%. And it does ramp up a bit, so it's definitely a bit steeper in some sections, getting up to 13%. Nothing like yesterday, where we were almost at 22%. As we see now, Tyrol KTM actually getting onto the front of the peloton. So maybe they're actually deciding to do an active race today and really try and get Jonas Holzknecht up there, because I'm sure Jonas is an extremely strong rider, but I think if they go into the bottom of the climb with a 5-minute gap to the breakaway, it will just be extremely hard. So I think they'll want the whole peloton to roll into the bottom of the climb with no breakaway at the road.
Knowing that he was second at that prestige Ötztaler Radmarathon with more than 5,000 meters in elevation gain and 230k.
Yeah.
Over 4 different mountain or alpine passes. That was an impressive one. And here we have Kaiser-Franz-Josef-Höhe at 2,639 meters with that finish area and the view towards that so-called Pastelze. It's the biggest Austrian glacier, and here Grossglockner with the small Grossglockner and then the big one.
Yeah, I mean, incredible view at the top there.
That's impressive.
Also, quite an interesting building. I've never seen that before, where you have the car park on the top. Maybe
saving some spaces there.
Yeah.
Or using the terrain to build cost-friendly.
Yeah. So it looks like there's not actually that much space up there for the team buses to be parking. So I think the riders will have a 20k descent ahead of them at the end of this stage.
Easy roll down. So 140 plus, and here you can see it in the profile. Also that whole stage with that start to 54k with an easy downhill, then it ramps up to Afritz am See, where we had also in Feld am See a sprint classification, Millstadt sprint classification, and now the next one is going to be Winklen, category 4.
And we see Felix Rützler from the Tyrol KTM team on the front here, just giving a helping hand. He's also an Austrian rider, incredibly young. I think he's just extremely happy to be able to race here, and he would have gotten team orders to just try and help bring the breakaway back. So yeah, it looks like the Conti teams are also a bit interested in today's stage.
Sorry, I need to correct, category 1.
Sorry.
But they are trying to fasten the belts a bit more here. The peloton is stretched wide open, and here is probably how you would describe that picture right now with the breakaway. It's a bit easier and slower looking right now.
Maybe it's just a false flat, and they're just not riding in the aero position as such. So yeah, and there's actually one rider in this breakaway who is now in the virtual lead because the gap is over 4 minutes. He is at 3 minutes 58, Eric Meinberg. So he is in the virtual lead of this race for the Benotti Berthold team.
Yeah, having a 13th place at the KOM at the Upper Austrian stage race.
As you can see, Lukas Hatzier, I think, just going back to the car. I think he just put his hand up to get a bottle maybe. You'll want to start this climb probably with one bottle on the bike. Maybe he'll be getting 2 now, drinking 1 before the climb and then racing up with 1 bottle.
Right now in Bad Kleinkirchheim.
Again, the breakaways got a bit of a luxury that the car can come up to them and just hand them whatever they need. As you see, Tobias Neudle again on the front, all riding really well together with the whole car convoy behind, and they're all now cooling the team car up so they can get all the bottles they need.
And that's Winkler. Since the 14th century, mentioned in the history books. The biggest mountain crystals are to be found here, and yeah, also the gate or the door to the Glockner, or to the first real climbs up. In terms of equipment, in terms of gear, knowing that we have a long flattenish stage before and then going up all the way to the Glockner, that's probably, or they probably use a universal one.
Yeah, I mean, you could have the debate if you want to ride a single speed on the front today. We saw Anna van der Breggen this year in the Vuelta. She raced a single speed up I think it was also a 1,000-meter climb, and it was also super steep. But today's running, yeah, I mean it's relatively flat, rolling. They're still averaging 46 kilometers an hour. So I think most teams will be going for a double chainring at the front and maybe a 36 cassette. But probably, I mean, you don't really need a 36 cassette today. There will probably be, I think the biggest cassette in the back will be a 34 size chainring, obviously depending what they've got on the front, but yeah, always looking at weight. So you can see maybe the riders who are planning and wanting to go into the breakaway, they will be racing with the aero wheels, deep section wheels, and the ones probably going for the stage might be going for the lighter climbing wheels.
The light gear is on the menu today, and that breakaway just summed it up a little bit. Nearly 100k alone in front and keeping that gap of 4 minutes plus over 1.5 hours already. We are 3 hours and 11 minutes or 12 minutes in the race, and still having Nolde, Rush, Meinberg, Bune, Schabok, Hatz, Schmiebauer, Evertsen, Hegerberg and Brenner in front of the race.
Yeah, and also to Lukas Hatz here. He is actually a mountain biker, and he was racing last Sunday in the World Cup in La Tulia, and he's actually here for the VSR team as a helper for Mesner. But they had a team talk yesterday, and they said, look, if you want to go into the break and try it, then you can go and see what you can do. So I mean, he's taken that free card and gotten himself into the breakaway. So I mean, see him is a mountain biker switching more onto the roadside maybe now, and seeing what he can do on a long climb.
He also competed at the UCI Cross Country World Cup in Leogang.
Yep.
A couple of weeks ago. So Lukas Hatz, multi-sport talent in terms of biking.
Yeah, it's always good when the mountain bikers come onto the road scene. They've obviously got the bike handling skills, so it's super cool to sometimes descend behind the mountain bikers, because if you just see a Tom Pidcock how he descends down some of the climbs, then you really know they've got the bike under control. But today they won't have the pleasure of descending down Grossglockner. They've just got the big climb up to it. So yeah, the average speed will definitely be lower today, but you can't get fooled by it because they're not descending down the big climb.
So that's Winklern. That's where it all starts again. You can see the city name sign and also that big sign of the national park Hohe Tauern, one of the biggest national parks here in Austria with the highest mountains in it.
Yeah, Winklern is a 1.4k climb we've got now ahead of us, a Cat 4, averaging 4.6%. So I don't think there might be a little sprint to the top of it, but this breakaway is just going to try and stay together because they've still got 20k to the bottom of the climb. So they're going to want to keep all 9 riders together, working together. As we've now got actually the whole Austrian team, I think it looks like, at the front with Felix Rützler from the Tyrol KTM team.
In the first position there.
Yep.
And here we have the next
Tyrol team, yep.
3 Tyrol team riders with Jonas Holzknecht there having a sip out of the bottle right now.
Yep. Yeah, so it looks like the Tyrol team have gotten told by their DS, Martin Taschler, to get to the front, stay in a safe position, and for Felix Rützler to ride on the front in the wind and try and keep this gap under control. They obviously also all know the Austrian national team, with it being an Austrian Conti team. So yeah, they won't mind to give a helping hand.
So also big news occurred yesterday. Felix Gall and Gregor Mühlberger are switching teams
Yep.
to Lidl Track for next season.
Yeah, it's an interesting move, that is.
Yeah.
But also kind of nice to see them sticking together.
Yeah.
They worked incredibly well together this year in the Giro d'Italia, and you just saw what it meant for Gregor Mühlberger when Felix Gall did a good race and he could help and contribute. And now obviously here, riding in the Lidl Tour of Austria, having his own chance to try and go for the GC or for some more stage wins. So
that KOM Winklern 1.6, you mentioned average of 5%, maxing out to somewhere near 6 or 7.
Let me just check. So Winkler is just a short climb, 70 meters of climbing.
Maxing out to 11%, sorry.
So it's just I think it's just a short climb. They'll just roll over it. Just try and get to the bottom of this Kazakh climb, almost 10 kilometers, 800 meters of climbing. So yeah, there's a big climb on the menu ahead.
Again, with the aerial footage in kind of a feed zone there. Or the actual feed zone.
Yeah, as we see a rider from Schwingshandel.
Schwingshandel? Yeah, it's Schwingshandel. It is Tobias Nolde following.
Okay, that's interesting tactics. I think my prediction was they were going to ride up this climb together and just go for the points at the top, but he decided to...
That's Maximilian Schmidbauer.
Yeah.
Always ready for the KOMs. And here we have from Benotti Berthold Erich Meinberg, a very young German rider, born 26. 19 won the German under 23 road race nationals, and 21 on a stage at the Tour of Bulgaria.
Yeah, so interesting they're attacking each other a bit here. I thought they would just stick together and just try and get to the bottom of the Glockner climb together. I think they've still got headwind. Yeah, still a very strong headwind, as you can see from the flags on the right-hand side. But I'm sure these riders are just going for the points. They might then wait up together, or they will go over the top and reduce the group.
Tobias Nolde in the red and white jersey. It is that was for sure
Konrad
Schabel.
Yeah, And yeah, they're just sitting up. I think they're a bit catching their breath. But I think it will definitely be to an advantage of the breakaway if they stick together with all 9 riders, because they were working really well together. As you can just see here, Lukas Hartz and Maximilian Schmidt-Bauer just pacing their way back on.
So still having 20 more K to go until we start the ascent up to Heiligenblut. And that was Maximilian Schmidt-Bauer. Is he trying to...
Okay, this is an interesting move here.
That's an interesting move by Schmidt-Bauer, Schwingshandel Intralogistics, after the KOM sprint category 4, trying to start an attack here, but there is probably no counter-attack to be seen there.
No, because he was in the second part of the breakaway, going over the climb, and he obviously came from behind with a lot of speed, and then just decided to go over the top. A bit of a brave move maybe, as we've still got 18k of false flat riding to get to the bottom of the Grossglockner climb.
You can see here on the right-hand side of the screen that's a nice false flat straight one.
Yeah.
Here you can see that sprint again, Schabo against Nolde.
Yeah, and then those 3 pretty much just sit up, and Maximilian Schmidt-Bauer just comes from behind with a lot of speed and decides to go over the top. You might have hoped that a couple of the breakaway riders would go with him, but they've all decided to sit up.
Was third in the KOM classification of Tour of Rhodes in 2026. Maximilian Schmidt-Bauer.
Yeah, as you see all the Austrians just getting their bottles from the side of the road, because they don't want to necessarily go back to the car if you've got the whole team in front. So they'll be using the Swannies on the side of the road. We've got Sebastian Putz here on the front of the peloton, followed by Felix Ritzler from the KTM team. So again, the Austrians and Tyrol KTM who have decided to come up and help with the pool.
So we had a little chat about tactics earlier, and we also said right now that's quite an interesting tactic by Schmidt-Bauer. Is there any point where they say, oh no, screw those tactics and just go for it, or?
Of course. I mean, there's always that moment you have the perfect plan before the race. One normally talks through multiple scenarios which could happen in a race, but if things start going a bit not to plan, shall I say, then you obviously have to change your tactics. I don't know if this here was I don't think it would have been it wouldn't have been a team order. He just came with speed from behind and decided to go over the top. As you can see here, is not necessarily getting that far. The breakaway will probably come back to him.
Yeah.
I think it'll also be maybe a better decision for him just to sit up a tiny bit right now and wait for the breakaway, and then work together with the breakaway or with the other 8 riders in that group. So yeah, team tactics. I mean, it's always great to have a plan, but I think there's a saying, the first mistake is to not have a plan, and the second mistake is to blindly follow the plan. So there you go. You always have to change some things in the middle of the race.
Well said.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Maximilian Schmidt-Bauer always having a little look over his shoulders.
Yeah, and it's headwind. If it would be tailwind now, it would be to his advantage, or it wouldn't be such a big disadvantage, because it's definitely a big disadvantage now that he is out front alone. But I mean, just keeping them at bay. If they start looking at each other and don't want to chase, then it could be the right call.
Yeah, but if you don't try, you never know.
Right, precisely, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe he is up for something, trying to weaken the breakaway a little bit more here.
Yeah, but it's just such a big breakaway, and there's only one rider per team. It sometimes makes the tactics a little bit tricky if you got a team with 2 riders in it, because then they're left to chase, and everyone just looks at that team saying, yeah, you've got 2 riders, it's your job to chase. Then the tactics get a little bit complicated, but here you've got 1 rider per team, so they'll all just be helping together and riding together. So an interesting fact here, this is Maximilian's 115th race of his career.
115.
Yes. And he's off the front of the Tour of Austria.
Perfect. We also have seen a nice fact there. 3,000 days ago, Bob Jungels. Yesterday, it's not in a perfectly well form. Had a crash there, but he won that Liège Bastogne-Liège.
Yeah.
3,000 days ago.
From 2018. And 2022, he had a Tour de France stage win 2017 in the Giro d'Italia. Yesterday he was 103rd position, so wasn't in the mix yesterday, maybe saving some energy. But yeah, he is a GC rider. So 4 minutes 20 the gap still. Maybe a bit higher than my predictions, but they've still got 14k to bring the gap down a bit. I think still with the Austrian national team and Tyrol women's cycling. Tyrol KTM cycling.
So that was that's your team, right?
That's my team.
Yeah. That's so
team.
For everyone who wants to know which team Amelie is riding, it is the Tyrol KTM women's team, and they're perfectly fine, always ready for some stage wins, and some also you're kind of a breakaway specialist.
I wouldn't necessarily say breakaway specialist. I'm trying to form into a GC rider, so trying to work on that.
So also a nice little side fact of Carlos Rodriguez. 5,000 kilometers of racing this year.
Yeah, that's quite incredible, isn't it? If you think about 5,000 racing.
Just to compare it to the Tour of Austria, we have here more than 800.
Yep.
So probably at the end of the tour, somewhere near 6,000 K of racing in that season, and Maximilian Schmidbauer is back in the breakaway. Stopped that attack here and having 4:20 due to the blackboard, or due to the chalkboard, of a gap between a breakaway and a peloton. Here you can see the Lienter Dolomite on the left side of the screen. Huge rocky mountains, not those in Canada, but those in East Tyrol.
Yeah, so Pool Double has had 5,584 kilometers of racing this year in 36 days of racing. And I was just having a quick check on his Strava. He's done over 15,000 kilometers this year. I'm not quite sure if he's posted everything, all of his training rides, but I mean, some quite incredible numbers. If you just think about like 5,000 kilometers of racing, that is a lot. But these riders are used to it. And yeah, I mean, the World Tour riders are used to it. Conti riders, maybe not so much.
32 3.4. They are lined up due to the fact that we have a strong headwind.
Yeah, strong headwind obviously coming from the front, so they will be riding behind each other.
Like an arrow.
I think the wattage saving is around 20 to 30% in the draft, depending how strong the headwind is. So I mean, it is quite incredible the savings you have. The further back you are, the more you save, pretty much. So I'm just checking out some Strava times on the up to the Grossglockner. I've picked out a segment here, the last 12.8k with 1,000 meters of climbing. The KOM time was actually from the Tour of Austria, and they averaged 18.8 kilometers an hour. So there was 40 minutes for over 1,000 meters of climbing.
Way to go there, way to go. Yeah, Amelie, that's going to be a tough one, going to be an interesting one, because they are still able to keep that gap open.
Yeah.
4 minutes and 38, knowing that there is that hell of a climb waiting for them up to the Grossglockner, but still hammering everything out.
They're doing a really good job this breakaway. I mean, keeping it over that 4 minute mark. You can see in the peloton there, single file, so the pace is extremely high. We've now got, I think, it's still the two teams on the front pulling with multiple riders. So yeah, so this breakaway is doing a really good job with the 9 riders out front. Yeah, as you can see here from the helicopter footage, it's single file. And when you see a peloton like this, then they're probably putting the hammer down on the front of the race.
But that gap isn't shrinking at all. 4 minutes 29.
Yeah, so I'm actually really interested. Maybe the peloton is fine with giving this breakaway 4 minutes at the bottom of the climb. But then they would have to start ramping the pace up right at the beginning of the climb so they can bring this back.
Jacob.
Yeah. So now we have another team interested in the chase.
2 other teams, I guess. The second one is still Tyrol.
Yeah, still Tyrol. I think that's still Felix Rützler up there. So yeah, we've got the Jayco team probably riding for pool double, who will be interested in today's stage. Had showed extremely good climbing legs yesterday.
Yeah, that was impressive. Sprint attack at that last KOM in front of the finish area. That was near Gamlitz, 2.5k to go. That there was a time for Paul Double to start that attack here. And yeah, we have also the virtual KOM classification. Tobias Nolde still in that red and white jersey, followed by Loac Bettendorf from Luxembourg and Paul Double in third place.
Yep, he got those points yesterday, I think, Paul Double. But I mean, we've still got a Cat 1 climb, so still a maximum of 12 points to grab there. Plus at the finish line another 15 points. So at the finish line there are 15, 10, 8, 6 and 4 points. So the top 5 riders get points. It will be a huge ask for Nolde Tobias to get to the top of that climb in the top 5 position. I mean, never say never, but he's done a good job today. Collecting 3 points so far, and there are only Cat 4 climbs up until now.
And again, like last year, Team Vorarlberg is aiming for those points. And unfortunately, last year, that was at the second last stage where Team Vorarlberg lost that jersey. That was quite an impressive fight between those two teams. And yeah,
Yeah, I always like seeing these different. I mean, you've always got the stage win, which is up for grabs. Then you got the GC fight, and then you've got these added on KOM points jersey plus sprinter's jersey, and also the 75th
classification
classification.
And those bonus seconds then.
Yeah, and also most active rider. As you can see here, the peloton is now not quite so much working all in one line, but you see the whole Tyrol KTM team on the left-hand side.
You see the whole national team in it. Jaco Lula first, Schwingshandel. Then we have T. Arbe, Feld am See. Foster is there somewhere in front to find. Then I guess it is Alpecin Premier Tech.
Yeah, so you've got Jaco on the front, you've got the whole Tyrol team up there, the whole national team, and then the rest of the Jaco team is at the bottom.
Schwingshandel.
Yep.
3 minutes 40.
That's what happens if one team comes up to help.
Yeah.
You get 1 minute within 5 kilometers. So I think it's looking good for my 3-minute marker.
Yeah.
At the bottom.
Yeah.
The climb.
We will see. 28.7 to go.
We haven't seen much of Ineos Net Company today, I have to say. I mean, Carlos Rodriguez is definitely a big contender for today's stage, I would say. As you can see here, Gregor Mühlberger putting water over his head, trying to keep cool, so it must be relatively hot there. Again, maybe the humidity really it just makes 25 degrees feel like 30. So yeah, so the peloton is bunching up a tiny bit. You got that great form at the back, but the whole Tyrol team on the front in a train, so looking good for that Conti team. Riding to get, I guess, to get Jonas Holzknecht into a good position, and maybe also see what the under-23 champions, Swiss champion, and so with Niklas Günther or with Samuel Novak, what they can do on the long climb.
23 degrees right now.
Okay.
Near Heiligenblut, 15 up at the Grossglockner, but coming in hot is Tyrol KTM cycling team.
Yeah, and still with Felix Ritzler on the front, so that's his job for today, is to ride on the front of this peloton and get them to the bottom of the climb and try and reduce the gap as much as possible, or to the gap that they've arranged that they want to have at the beginning of the stage. And all the other riders will be here saving energy. Maybe also a Paul Fieberg will also have his go on the Grossglockner climb today.
Also, Rinko Vatvarix was pretty well positioned in the peloton, so I guess now it is the time for them to really push and to really try to close that gap, even though we still have 27.9k to go, waiting with that more than 1,000 meters climb up to that Grossglockner. So still way to go, still a lot of opportunities for not just the breakaway, also for the peloton to turn that second stage of the Lidl Tour of Austria around here.
Yeah, I mean, the breakaway have had an incredible ride today. Still having 3 minutes 30. Getting to the bottom of this climb is a really good, really solid ride from them. Now it's just a question of how much energy they've had to spend to stay in that position. Obviously, riders like Felix Ritzler, Sebastian Putz, who are riding on the front of the peloton today, they've also spent a lot of energy chasing this peloton down. But that's what a team's here for. That's why you have teamwork. That's their job for today, and then when that's done, they'll go into the gruppetto and just ride up the team, Grossglockner.
15 more to go until We are at the near the 75 bonus classification at Heilig and Blut. Also, Lidl Trek is trying to move a little bit up front right now. Probably to bring Hector Alvarez or Andrea Baioli into that good spot, because Lidl Trek having the third, the fourth and the fifth in the overall since yesterday here.
Yeah, and they've also got 2 jerseys, I think. Is that true? And also UAE we saw back there, and Ineos Net Company.
For sure, Kevin van Meijke got the green jersey. Yeah, Kevin.
So the UAE rider, sorry, not
The
Lidl
UAE
Trek.
rider. Oh,
No.
yeah, Lidl Trek.
Lidl Trek.
Yeah, Hector Alvarez and Patrick Conrad. Sorry, the youngest. Hector Alvarez in the black and in the orange jersey for the best Austrian, due to the fact that Gregor Mühlberger is in the red jersey. Patrick Conrad from Lidl Trek. And for sure he was that saying it was pretty humid yesterday, and quite a long of looking each other in the peloton, not trying to make any move, just to wait for the others to do something. That was Patrick Conrad, and today his mission is just to be there up on in the top. And here we have the 152 Evertsen Hegerberg at the end of the breakaway there.
You just saw him missing out his turn, so either he's already starting a bit of the tactic games, or he's already a bit on his hands and knees. So yeah, he just let Tobias Nolde in. So he missed his turn. If he misses another turn, then the group might start complaining. But I mean, if he's done, then there's nothing much you can do anyway. So.
Maximilian Schmidt-Bauer, same like yesterday, many fans and spectators along the track here. Here we have the young kids having their second last day of school in Austria. Tomorrow it's the final day.
Summer holidays begin for them.
Summer holidays. And is there any better way to start the summer holidays to watch the international and the national pros cycling next to your home through a beautiful mountain valley?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that the Austrian team have gone back now as we're seeing the climb ahead. So this is the first part of the climb with 9.3 kilometers and pretty much 800 meters of climbing, averaging 8.5%. So it is on the steeper side. And then after this climb, you've got a short descent, and then you go straight into the next 520 meters of climbing.
The 9.3 maxing out there at the very last part of the Kaiser-Franz-Josef-Höhe, so in the last third of it. That's where the steepest part is going to be, and that little downhill really recognizable for those athletes.
It's a very short respite. It will definitely help, but you still can't ignore the fact that you've then still got 520 meters of climbing to do. So it is 1,300 meters of 1,300 meter climb with a very short descent in between. So the riders have definitely got to manage their energy. They're not allowed to start too fast on this climb because you can easily gain a lot of time if you blow up at the bottom.
We're coming close to the 3-minute mark.
14 seconds with 4K to go.
That was again another bullseye prediction by Amelie Cooper here at
And I predicted it with 80K to go. Roughly. Maybe 60.
Yeah. Okay then. So. Yeah, probably now it is at the time for the peloton to start a move here. to bring those top GC contenders in the right position, to bring the domestiques in the right position. And as you can see here, they're building up speed, even though it's a bit of a downhill part in it, not just too long, but yeah, useful to accelerate. And then going towards Heiligenblut, so that a legendary mountaineering village at the very end of the Mölltal.
Yeah, you can also see the Austrian national team has maybe pulled off the front of the peloton a bit. That might just mean that they're happy with 3 minutes. They trust, or they know that Gregor Mühlberger can ride back onto them. So yeah, now it's down to Tyrol KTM, it looks like.
Yeah, he missed again his turn there. Lukas Hatz lined up again in front of Evertsen Hegerberg from Lucky Sport cycling team, and all a Swedish team.
Yeah, here you can just see him always dropping off a bit. I think looking at his body language, also looking at the salt tan lines, I mean, he's had to do a lot of work today, the same as the others, but is obviously taking its toll a bit. And it seems like the other riders in the breakaway are happy with it. So it's still working well together, this breakaway, but as soon as one other rider then starts complaining, as you can see here, oh no, maybe not, sorry, he's calling for the car. As soon as one of those riders start complaining, then the dynamic in the breakaway won't be so good anymore.
But Simon Evertsen Hegerberg, known as a good climber, KOM pro, 5th in the Youngster Coast Challenge 2026, 5th at the KOM of the Upper Austrian stage, and 17th of the Tour de Bretagne in the KOM. So he would be a perfect pick for the Grossglockner, especially for the Lucky Sport cycling team.
Yeah, well, now we got from the Tyrol KTM team, we've got Zeno Winter on the front. So Zeno Winter and Felix Rützler, it's their job now to close this gap. Oh, they're not allowed to keep going too quick. We're under the 3 minutes now.
There is Ulrich Bune, Team Drally Repsol. Repsol, yeah, Norwegian development team. And also several top 30 stage results, especially at the Tour of Lithuania. And yeah, top 30 at the Norwegian National Championships. Another young Norwegian coming up here and setting foot in a kind of, yeah, it is a Pro 2 stage race, for
definitely.
sure.
And the Norwegians having a good run at the moment, with Tronstein being in the yellow jersey at the moment at the Tour with a very big lead, so maybe a next future hope for Norway.
Two minutes and 56. Still 22. You're under your prediction right now, Amelie.
I think a 10-second tolerance is accepted.
Okay, that's good. 10 second is accepted.
It would be acceptable. I would accept that. Okay, so we've got around, it looks like it's already starting to slowly ramp up now. We're not quite on the official climb yet, but very shortly.
Yeah, in the first part of that climb, and if you guys want to check out the profile, it is impressive for sure. That last 22 Ks are, yeah, that part why it is the Queen stage today for sure.
Yeah, and you can see also Rinkhoff coming up here, all the teams slowly getting lined up and getting their main rider from the team into the correct position. Interesting to see, it's more the Conti teams on the front at the moment, and the World Tour teams are just hanging off at the back or in the middle of the pack at the moment, so they're just not stressing just yet to get into position, because it is a long climb. 20k is a long climb.
Jaco, we've seen here, and from the helicopter perspective again, the breakaway, and also here again perfect cooperation between them. And now let's just have a look on Evertsen Hegerberg.
Yeah, it's just slowly letting the gap get bigger. At the moment he can still hang on, but I think he's just extremely exhausted, and that's why he's just missing his turns. And I mean, the other riders in the breakaway can't really say much. If as soon as we hit the longer slopes, then he'll probably drop out the back anyway, so there's no point to start disturbing the good work of this breakaway.
I guess they are getting more nervous seeing the gap on the chalkboard. Here we are right now at the start of Heiligen Blut. Lukas had a bit of a chat with Maximilian Schmidbauer. Also, he is kind of to start paying the bills there.
Yeah, I think they're all slowly maybe getting a tiny bit tired, but they've still got this big mountain ahead of them to climb. Most of them are still looking good though, so maybe one of them will be able to make it over the 800 meter climb ahead of the peloton before the attacks start coming from behind. And yeah.
Foster, here we have rad-net, we have Tirol, we have Rinkhoff, we have Arbe, Feld am See, then UAE is also now in front, and I guess it is the first time of today seeing either it's so it is.
Yeah, so that was Felix Rützler then just saying that his job is done. He's done a good job. He's been pulling for the last 25k. So a solid ride from him, also to help make this gap come down, as we see the World Tour teams now slowly making their way forwards, with UAE on the right hand side of our screen, Jaco and Ines Net Company behind them.
Yeah, Antonio Morgado, Portuguese national champ, Giro stage winner in 2025. Yeah, second big GC card of the UAE team. Maybe setting tempo for Kristen, or now they are setting the tempo for him.
Also Kevin Vermerk, also a strong rider, came second yesterday, so showing that he can climb. It's always a question though, you can't really compare a 200 meter climb to a 1,300 meter climb. It's a bit different, but yeah, I'm interested. I'm very interested to see the team tactics here. And yeah, 2 minutes 20 the gap, or 2 minutes 19 with 20k to go. And now we are hitting the bottom slopes of this first longer climb, the Cat 1 climb, Kazakh. 9.3k, 800 meters of climbing.
Rewarded with 12.864 and 2 points. And just to circle back to Morgado, also Tour de l'Avenir winner of 2023, and he is probably the most exciting talent in the World Tour peloton there from UAE. Another one to have a look at in future.
Yeah, so they've got 170 kilometers of racing so far in their legs, and 1,300 meters of climbing left. over these 19K.
19.
And there's a descent in the middle of it.
So all in all, in total, nearly 3,000 meters in elevation gain, 188.8 to be as correct as possible here at the second stage of the Lille Tour of Austria. And still, since huge amount of time and a huge amount of kilometers, that breakaway is in front, but it is shrinking. We're right now at 2 minutes and 1 second, and here we have that train coming towards the breakaway. Jaco, Elula, Rinkov, Advarix.
Yeah, and you also can't forget for these young continental riders, these are extremely long races for them. Like 188 kilometers, I think this is the longest race, for example, that Felix Rützler has done at this UCI level. Same with generally the whole Tyrol KTM team. So it's also a challenge for them to manage their energy over this distance and over the duration, but then still be able to ride on the front and try and help the team as best as possible.
Alpecin Premier Tech also bringing Michael Gogel, the national champion, in a good position there. Also Team Vorarlberg is lining up on the left-hand side of the peloton.
Yeah, and the gaps also come down quite quickly now.
Yeah, 1 minute 39.
Yeah. So that was like a minute in the last 4K, was it?
Yeah.
So
Normally you say a minute in 10K.
yeah, when it's flat, a minute in 10K, maybe. I mean, it's slightly uphill now, so. But yeah, it's definitely dropping quite quickly. This gap to the breakaway. But they're still doing a good job. They've almost been on the go for 4 hours now, and now they've got a long climb ahead of them. So definitely a tough day of racing.
But he's still looking good from Jaco Elula there. Easy spinning up.
Yeah. Yeah, they've been sitting in the back the whole day.
Yeah.
Relaxing. No. I'm sure it was also a hard day or hard enough day in the peloton.
Here you can see him, the majestic Grossglockner 3,798 meter, and the Church of Heiligenblut with the cable car. Perfect skiing also here in the winter time, but right now it is the world stage for the Tour of Austria.
Yeah, beautiful roads. Also really nice. It's a really nice climb up there. Always on these wide roads with good road surface, so the riders can go from left to right to get the fastest line up here. But they've already pulled the team cars out of the gap, as you can see there. They're just driving ahead. So yeah, we're at 1:15 now. Maybe somebody from the breakaway could start. Yeah, we can see them now both.
We
on
can
one
see
screen.
right now the peloton coming. That's not just more than 400 to 500 meters.
Yeah. Now we have
Ineos.
their company on the front.
Ineos Net Company is pulling again. Then also Gregor Mühlberger here, the Austrian national team, Lidl Trek, Jaco Elula. So same picture like yesterday in the final phase in the last third of the race. That World Tour teams are taking over the control of the peloton, or taking over the control of the whole field actually, because bringing that gap from 4 minutes when we were at 29 or 28K to 1 minute and 5 seconds with 18.1K to go. That is an impressive performance by the peloton.
Yeah, so now it's just a question if any any one of these riders from the breakaway have still got anything left, maybe they could go on a bit, go up the road, but at the moment they're looking, I mean, they're still riding a good pace, but they're just looking, or the gap's coming down extremely quickly.
4
there we
hours.
go. There we have the attack that I was talking about.
Yeah.
I think that was from Maximilian Schmitzbauer.
Yeah, again, your predictions are always on point. That is incredible. I guess you have them in your ear, right?
No,
Just tell the truth.
No. I was just thinking what I would do in that situation.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
You just got to put yourself into their their shoes.
I don't want to do that. I don't put myself into their shoes.
The
that was
attacks are
not
flying now.
Maximilian Schmitzbauer. That was.
I think it was, but these have now gone over the top of him.
It is Schabo from Foster and.
Yeah, so this is a big attack that he's doing here at the moment.
Is it Mauro? I guess it's Mauro Brenner from rad-net.
Yep. Let me just check.
They probably go for the 75th classification, that bonus classification coming up in any second there, 17.4k, which are rewarded with a bit of a money there for sure for the riders.
Yeah, because it's set an incredibly fast pace here. And it's also just important when riders attack like this that
it is Mauro Brenner from rad-net, a German team. Here we have him.
Yeah. That you don't try and follow him. Like if you're a type of rider that just needs to settle into a rhythm, then it's just important that you don't, because he's obviously going for this bonus sprint now.
Yeah, 500 meters to go for the bonus sprint, and probably then he calls it a day.
I mean, he'll try and carry on riding, but I don't think he'll be able to quite keep this pace up. So yeah, he'll stay out for as long as possible. Maybe the other riders like Maximilian Schmitzbauer or Lukas Hatz, who just pulled off a bit earlier, are setting a pace which they can sustain for a longer time. But yeah, good racing from him, from Brenner Mauro to get this bonus sprint.
Also got a 6th overall at the Course de la Peu at the Peace Race and under 23 race, 2026. Then a 3rd on the stage of Giro Valle d'Aosta, an Italian stage race in the Aosta Valley. So also one of the most dangerous riders in that break. And also being an under 23 athlete is incredible, with huge climbing credibilities on his side there.
Yeah, he's definitely a climber. It's just now the question how much energy did he have to spend to stay in that breakaway to keep the gap big enough? Because as we saw before, the peloton really isn't that far behind. It's around 45 seconds, the last update we had. So yeah.
Yeah, and from that 75th bonus at Heiligenblut, it ramps up.
Yeah, it really starts, the climbing really starts now. They've definitely still got quite a bit ahead of them in terms of this climb before it comes on to the short descent flat parts, which I mentioned before.
Not recognizable. Oh, just how do you call it, a little respite?
Yeah, a very short respite, but looking at the profile, it also isn't it is a short descent, but it's not like a 15% descent where you really don't have to turn.
Lukas Hatz catched by the peloton, and not just catched, swallowed by it. Ineos is setting the tone here and bringing those top GC contenders like Rodriguez, like August.
Lukas Hatz had a good race. Mountain biker to get into a breakaway, to experience that in a big race like the Tour of Austria. And now it's just got to try and recover to try and get up this climb. As you can also see, all the helpers from Jaco Lula or Einius Net Company, they're doing their turn on the front and then they're dropping back and forming a gruppetto to make it to the finish.
Alpecin also with Michael Gogel, just two or one helper left. Here we have Andrew August glued to the back wheel.
Yeah, so Einius have definitely got a plan today. They've got a couple of cards to play. Carlos Rodriguez, maybe Andrew August, who has had very solid results in this stage race so far over the past couple of years.
And he is still out there alone, but yeah, really
I mean,
puts the head in and goes for it.
Yeah, because the rest of the break, I think.
Oh, Jan Christen.
Okay, so we have Jan Christen has dropped out the back of the peloton.
Yeah, that's something we not predicted here.
Yeah.
As one of the top contenders for the GC with his results history. So
yeah, and some really like national time trial champion, national road race champion. Maybe he's had a bit of a illness or something like that. But yeah, a bit of a surprise maybe to see him dropping out the peloton. Maybe we'll be able to catch some inside news later with an interview or something. But yeah, at the moment we've got Einius on the front.
Bob Jungels also dropped out. That was another from Einius who went back to the form de gruppetto. Bob Jungels, last year's 140k long breakaway took home the win at the last stage in Vorarlberg. There it was.
Yeah, and here we have Mauro. I mean, he's doing a really good job to hold this peloton off.
Patrick Conrad from Lidl Trek in the jersey of the Best Austrian. Also, yeah, kind of fighting. You can. Bob Jung is smiling.
It's actually quite interesting if you look at the bike setup of the Einius riders. You can see all the helpers have got the deeper section wheels in, and obviously the climbers or the riders interested in the stage have got the more climbing wheel sets in. But yeah, I mean, Mauro's doing an incredible ride here. The rest of the break has already been caught.
He's still out there. It would be nice to see how far he is out there. Also,
I think that's the last Austrian helper for Gregor Mühlberger, just dropping off there. So he's now left on his own.
He is also on the back wheel of Net Company Einius, and here is Mauro Brenner one more time. Also Michi Gogel.
Yeah, I think the pace is just a tiny bit too high for him, so yeah, he's now unfortunately also dropping out the back of the peloton.
Oh, that's I guess Lukas Hatz it was. And here we have
so we have Einius. We've also got a couple of riders from UAE up there, and still one rider from Hinkov, but it's now
EF Education Easy Post, and now that's the time where Mauro Brenner is being caught.
Okay, so the race is open again now.
Now it is open, and we have Einius again, Repsol and Tirol KTM.
Yeah, we still have, I think that was Jonas Holzknecht. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, we still got a couple of riders also from Team Vorarlberg at the back there.
Yeah, that's Jonas.
Yeah. So very solid performance from them. I think they just need to set their pace and yeah, just try and hang on for as long as possible.
With that was Hugo Hole from Alpecin Premier Tech with I think Henry Appelbaum from Team Stork MLV Pau.
Yeah, so you got the 4 riders from Ineos and then Gregor Mühlberger glued to the back of them. I think to the right of Gregor Mühlberger is Paul Double. And then we have
Laurent Deplou right now in front of Pete Oxenberg Hansen. So those two are, and just have a look there, Amelie, that peloton just ripped apart. Ricky Teudel, can see him also.
Yeah, I mean, it's an incredibly high pace. How many riders were in? There were 130 riders in this race.
130.
9 were out front, so there was 121 coming into the bottom of the climb, and now there are 20 odd left, if even. But
14. 14, and with a little gap then to EF Education Easy Post. Yeah, just let us stick to 25 are left out of that 121 going into the bottom of that climb. We still have 14.2 to go, and look how fast that whole peloton was ripped apart.
Yeah, that's quite incredible. I think in that second group is the group with the 2 continental riders, I think.
That for sure is a team Vorarlberg and I believe Tirol, with 2 of Tirol, KTM Cycling. Here we have Ineos, then we have Gregor Mühlberger in the red one. Here we have...
that's Günther from the Tirol KTM team, who came 11th yesterday on the back of Jonas Holzknecht, I think it looked like. So they're also doing a really solid race here. They just need to set their tempo, not try and go with this pace. If it's just 10 watts too high, then you might blow up at the top. It's far better just to settle into your own rhythm. And look, as you see, they're not losing masses of time. They just need to pace their way up this climb, because there's still 14k of climbing left.
Ineos, net company Ineos, setting an incredibly high pace right now, are responsible for that, ripping apart of the peloton, and Gregor Mühlberger still glued to the back wheel. So the national team did an incredible job to bring him into that position, into that last 13.7k. And remember, 2014, he was the designated Glockner king.
Yeah, so he knows his climb. So like there we see the 2 continental riders from Tyrol, and up here the one from Team Vorarlberg.
It is with 73. It is Philipp Hofbauer. Also his goal was to be in that breakaway, especially in that leading group right now. Then also from Nielsen Paulus, EF Education, also in it. One of your picks today.
Yeah, also Paul Double, my main pick for today. But I think both of us mentioned Jan Christen. He is unfortunately already at the back.
I didn't.
You didn't?
No.
Ah, okay. Okay, then that was me. So yeah, a bit of a shame, but maybe there's, I mean, we don't know what's wrong with, or if something's wrong, or we don't know.
We don't know, but what we for sure know, we are in the KOM climb up to Kazarek. And it is KOM 1 rewarded with 12.864 and 2 points. There we have Hofbauer.
Yeah, he's also setting a really good pace there. You can see he's suffering, but I think on these type of climbs it's just super important to set your own pace. We are slowly in a couple of K coming up to this descent and flat part, where it's obviously a big advantage if you can be in a bigger group. But here we can just see this group breaking away from, or just the riders dropping off from it slowly.
Bauke Mollema from Lidl Trek also in that group. From Lidl Trek. future teammate of Gregor Mühlberger, and also the next from Ineos is dropping out. Did an incredibly well job here, and yeah, preparing that last 13.1k, I guess, for Andrew August. Here we have the 124. It is Alberto Carlo Monti from ATT Investments.
Yeah, so he is the best Conti rider, I think, at the moment on the road. But yeah, you just saw the teammates from Ineos. They all have their turns, and then they...
Yeah, I guess there's also from Team Repsol. Casper Crypto for me it is.
I think there are two from that team.
Two from Casper Crypto for me, an all Czech team. And that was Václav Ježek. Also listed as an secret top contender here.
Okay. Yeah, so Ineos will have, I reckon, he will do his turn until the end of the descent, and then they've still got Andrew August and Carlos Rodriguez.
Regarding of the PCS race points, he is the best ranked Conti team rider,
Okay.
Václav.
Yeah, they've still got two from the ATT Investments team, I think that is, at the back. No.
Casper Crypto for me.
Right, sorry. So it's now going to be interesting tactics. When will the likes of Gregor Mühlberger or a Pool Double decide to attack? I think they'll be waiting for the second climb, so they'll get over this Cat 1 climb, and then on the second climb, which is still 500 meters, they'll then start.
Look at that gap to the rest of the field. There is one of those 36 hairpin turns in between.
Don't know what just happened then. Mühlberger, I think there must have been I think that was a little slight mechanical then when he was shifting, because he suddenly dropped out the back, and Pool Double gave him a helping hand. I think he probably just shifted up from the small chainring to the big chainring. And sometimes that can be a little bit...
Through the toll station, which means we are at the Grossglockner High Alpine Road right now, 12.1k. Still to go in that 12.1k. We have plenty of meters of elevation gain to overcome.
Yeah, we are definitely also getting onto the steeper section of this Cat 1 climb before we come into a short descent and head into the last 8k of climbing.
So Ineos again doing an incredibly job here to bring their big GC card into a good position. Repsol is in it, EF is it, Jayco, then Lidl Trek, two athletes of Jayco.
And also one rider from UAE.
Kevin Vermelke in the green jersey. So probably the advantage is on the side of Netcompany Ineos, with having 3 of them in it. Then Jake followed by Jayco Lula with 2. Lidl Trek alone.
Yeah, Ineos are doing a really, really good job here. Super teamwork, because it does just help having a teammate with you on this type of climb. I mean, the average here is 8.5%, but they'll still be climbing at over 20 kilometers an hour, and you definitely have a draft advantage going at 20 kilometers an hour.
Peter Oxenberg pulling right now. Here we have Finlay Pickering from Jayco Lula, then James Shaw from EF Education. Still in it from the Repsol team was Toralf Martinsen.
Yeah, he is doing an incredible ride. As you can see also some of the World Tour riders are dropping off because his pace is just furiously high. And now...
Also, Peter Oxenberg is pulling out.
Yeah, that's his job done. And that's now Andrew August on the front, I think.
Also,
now we see Kevin from Merck struggling a tiny bit. So yeah, now it's super select race now with 4 riders out. 5 riders out front.
That's an intense one. That is an intense one. 11.3 to go with an incredibly high pace up there to the Grossglockner. Another king is about to be crowned up there. The last one.
Yeah, so they are almost at the top of this Cat 1 climb. I think that's the sign for 500 meters to go. And then they've got their short respite of a descent, then a 1.5 to 2k flat section, and then it ramps up again for the last 500 meters of climbing.
The last one was Jonas Rapp also.
And now we
KOM.
also see Bauke Mollema struggling, and it looks like Pool Double is also struggling to hang on to this pace set by Andrew August.
Kevin van Meeke is off. Not capable of closing that gap again. Also with Thoralf Martinsen, and now another one is pulling out, which leads us to probably a double fight. It is Carlos Rodriguez
versus
Gregor Mühlberger.
So that's interesting. I thought maybe Andrew August was going to try and hang on for a tiny bit longer to try and help Carlos Rodriguez.
Also, he missing the Tour de France.
Yes.
2026. Both of them are probably a bit heartbroken and trying to get redemption here at the Tour of Austria. Finished second overall at the Tour of Rhône-Alpes 2026, and he is a dangerous one when it comes to mountain finishes. So it all comes together at the last 10.7k after 188, a kind of flattish stage with some punchy KOMs, but the last deciding judge is now that one. But still,
Pool Double is still in there. I think that was maybe just Andrew August came off and Carlos Rodriguez took over the riding on the front of the race, and he's just set his own tempo. Pool Double, the same as here. Kevin van Merck is also just setting his tempo. He's not going back. I mean, he's not gaining any time, but he's also not drastically dropping off the back. So now we've got a 3-up race here. Very interesting, actually.
Yeah, an incredible 500 meters to go to the KOM. A bit less category 1 at Kazarek, and then that little bit of a downhill section, but there's Pool Double trying to attack or attacking that and trying to grab that KOM Cat 1 with that.
Okay, that was a tiny bit unexpected, and now Gregor Mühlberger is closing and jumping over to...
Carlos Rodriguez not able to follow, or he is... no, you're not able to play any tactic cards anymore here.
But that's actually incredible riding from Pool Double, because he did drop off and then he made it back on, and then as soon as he made it back on, he pretty much attacked over the top. He's obviously gone for these, or aiming for those points, but that was also a perfect place where he can attack. And now we got 2 up the road.
That flattish part.
Same. One of them is the same rider, Gregor Mühlberger, doing an incredible race. But yeah, they're now 2 up, coming into this short descent with the flat section before we head on to the last 8 kilometers of climbing.
A little bit of respite. That's a nice word. Respite.
So now's the question where, how far back is Carlos Rodriguez? Is he just setting his own pace and he couldn't go with the explosive attack of Pool Double then? or was he on his limit and the pace that his teammates from Mindia set was maybe just a tiny little bit too high?
Here we have him. Bauke Mollema is also trying to get that connection back to Carlos Rodriguez.
Yeah, so they've got around, I think they're around 10 seconds behind, and then 25 seconds behind these two riders. We've got a group of 3 with Kevin Vermerk, James Shaw, and riding Martinen.
Paul Doppel is shouting towards Gregor Mühlberger. Another 4 coming, so it's not over. We still have 9,000 meters to go.
Yeah, still got 500 meters of climbing to go. Gregor Mühlberger just having probably a caffeine gel there, but he's not riding on the front, so yeah, they're having a couple of discussions there. But I mean, Gregor Mühlberger doesn't have to ride, he's the GC leader. It is down to Paul Double to ride. He's obviously happy with the situation if these two come back.
That's 150 to 200 meters gap between Mollema, Rodriguez and Mühlberger Double.
Yeah, so Paul Double being forced to ride on the front, but he's not so happy with this. And Mühlberger just sitting on the back, saving his energy as they're now slowly coming in. Yeah, now they're starting the final climb.
Now the final climb is on.
Oh, maybe not quite.
Not
But anyway,
quite, but it's ramping up, 8.3k to go. Here you can see it is starting falls flat and then all the way up.
It's flat for a couple of 100 meters, but the climb started now. So from here, it's 500 meters of climbing left, averaging 6.3%. So these two are now already starting the games a bit. Gregor Mühlberger said he's not going to ride, and Paul Double is now stuck on the front, obviously spending way more energy because it is flatter on this section here.
Yeah, that was quite of a discussion between those two, and there was a little bit of smiling of Gregor Mühlberger towards the camera there. But they waited to get those others two back here. So cards are...
Yeah, so obviously Gregor Mühlberger was happy with these two riders rejoining the group. I should see Carlos Rodriguez emptying half the bottle. You know, every gram counts. So yeah, the tactic games are already starting. Paul Double was just deciding to ride his pace, and the 3 behind are now looking at each other a bit. But I would say it looks like Gregor Mühlberger is feeling well, because otherwise he wouldn't have been able to go with the attack of Paul Double, and then he decided not to ride because he obviously feels strong, so he doesn't feel under pressure.
Also, he is closing the gap again to Paul Double. One of your predictions?
Yeah, so we've also got we're climbing up to 2,358 meters above sea level, so the air is definitely thinner up here. I'm sure these riders are used to it. They'd have been at altitude, training at altitude, but still it could have an effect. So yeah, I'm just going to be interesting to see how these 4 riders are going to play it out.
Rodriguez with nasal breathing there. Even though we thought about him dropping out of that leading group, having a comfortable gap towards those other 4. It looks kind of comfortable, but could probably change in any moment then.
Yeah, I mean, there's it looks like it's comfortable because these pros are just so efficient when they're pedaling and when they're riding, but I mean, they'll be pushing enormous numbers. So yeah, now the tactical games are starting though. Gregor Mühlberger has been forced to ride on the front. Now these four are looking behind because they know a group of four is coming from behind, but the problem is if they rejoin, they've already dropped off once, so the chance of them dropping off a second time is
that's
relatively high.
Bauke Mollema here trying to do something, but they reacted quite fast and didn't let him off the leash. 6.8 to go. Mollema in front, double second, Mühlberger third, and Rodriguez there in fourth, right now in a third position again. So it is kind of Paul Dobbel trying to direct that last 6K up there.
Yeah, it's definitely Paul Double animating this race. I would say from the looks of things, Carlos Rodriguez is maybe struggling a tiny little bit. Gregor Mühlberger is still looking extremely strong. And Bauke Mollema, I mean, he dropped off before, but maybe he was just setting his own pace and he's now managed to ride his way back up. And there I think you can see in the far distance the finish line. They've still got around, so this climb is 500 meters, so they've still got around 400 meters of climbing to do.
400 meters. And Paul Dobbel isn't happy at all with the situation here.
Now also Gregor Mühlberger isn't that happy. So I think we're seeing here another attack of Paul Dobbel.
Yeah, Paul Dobbel goes for another in total 8.27k long. That last climb up, maxing out to 14.3%. It is one of the highest category, rewarded with 15, 10, 8, 6 and 4. And
yeah, we also see there's a tiny bit of a flatter section with around 3k to go. So yeah, but now Paul Dobbel, my pick of the day, has decided to set his own tempo and ride off the front.
So having Bauke Mollema again in the picture, he has announced that 2026 will be his final professional season. So the Tour of Austria is also kind of his last dance. 2 times Tour de France stage winner, Vuelta winner, and
yeah. So Paul Dobbel set his pace. He was, I think, a bit fed up with the arguing and looking around. Yeah, it looks like Carlos Rodriguez, the pace was just a tiny bit too high for him. Same for Bauke Mollema. So now we've got the two which went ahead on that Cat 1 climb. So now we've got a showdown between the two of these.
Yeah, but Paul Dobbel isn't able to get rid of Gregor Mühlberger. He is glued to his back wheel, and for sure also riding with a bit of anger in his belly due to the fact that he was not nominated for the Tour, but with a happy eye on the other side, wearing that GC jersey, that red jersey, after an incredible win yesterday.
Yeah, and he also came here, and in the first interview he said he was sad that he wasn't selected for the Tour de France team, and then the next sentence he said he's here to win the race. So he's definitely got a clear objective goal, and he came here yesterday, managed to win the stage, and not quite happy there.
No, that was the motorcycle in their way.
Okay, but Paul Dobbel again just on the front, setting his high pace, and now Gregor Mühlberger is coming through and giving him a turn.
Yeah, but it's also interesting about Paul Dobbel. He reached that kind of World Tour or Pro Tour level since 2025, where he signed with Jaco Elula, and then crowned it with an overall winner of the Tour, Guangxi, also the winner of the Queen stage in 2025. Strong climber, and for sure also having the GC card on his hand, so also capable of making the life of Gregor Mühlberger
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so Paul
Hard.
Double has been riding with Jayco since 2025, and he's got a contract until 2028. So they've got, yeah, I mean, he's riding incredibly well this Tour of Austria. He already showed yesterday how strong he was on the climb. Gregor Mühlberger was just hanging on the wheel, and he attacked or used his experience and knowledge to know when to attack and how to attack. And he had that incredible solo victory yesterday. And now again today we've got these two out front battling out for the win.
Battling out for the win, and he is also now waiting probably for a bit of a hesitation of Gregor Mühlberger, which is not in sight here because he's taking over right now the leading role of 4.8k to go. Maybe a bit too early for an attack, maybe a bit too strong Paul Double on his back wheel, so maybe all comes together in the last 1,000 meters or 2,000 meters like yesterday.
Yeah, I think it flattens out a bit, so I think these two will want to try and work together. As we can see, Gregor Mühlberger, I think, is just stomping on the pedals now and has already managed to get half a bike length in between him and Paul Double, but Paul Double's just gritting his teeth and just trying to hang onto the back wheel of Gregor Mühlberger.
So after yesterday's Austrian storyline, Gregor Mühlberger took home the victory of the first stage. He is on a good way.
Yeah, we just see Gregor's really trying to get rid of Paul Double now, and has definitely been able to put a 3-4 bike length in between them two. And yeah, it's looking really good for the Austrian rider with 4.5k to go.
Now it is probably that time for Gregor Mühlberger. One more time like yesterday. Solo on his way, letting Paul Double behind there. And also the body language of Paul wasn't that good anymore.
No.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, he wasn't, but he did drop off on the first climb, the Cat 1 climb, and then he made his way back. But I have to say Gregor Mühlberger is looking incredibly strong here. Also riding in an aero position, which also saves lots of watts. So yeah, incredible ride, right? What we're seeing at the moment. I think Paul Double, yeah, has already got, 200 meters.
Yeah.
He's now just got to set his own pace and see if maybe Gregor Mühlberger has overdone it, but if you ask me, he's planned this quite well.
Yeah, he planned it, and for sure also in the earlier phases of that stage to the team, the national team, were working hard to bring Mühlberger in that position where he is right now, for sure, with Sebastian Butz, Paul Wermniak, and all the others incredibly strong riders, which in fact you have to say that after yesterday was the first day for them to ride together as a team.
Yeah.
To really try to execute all those tactics of the team captain here, which is Tom Binder. So
yeah, it's always interesting with these stage races when you have a national team on the start, because it's quite often the case that you just have a lot of incredibly strong riders that normally race in different teams. They then race for the same team, and then suddenly teammates. They obviously all know each other because they're all Austrian. But yeah, it's been great to see, and the Austrian squad have done a really good job today, controlling the race really from the beginning. When the breakaway went, you had the two riders from Austria on the front. Then Tyrol KTM came to help, but they've really done a really good job for Gregor Mühlberger today.
Started his career in the Tyrol cycling team 2013 to 2014, also using the short way there over the parking lot.
Yeah, and there's 3k to go. This was the flattish section I was talking about before. As Paul Double decides to stick on the road and not take the shortcut through the parking lot as such. And I think if you just look up to the left there, you can see the finish. So it's the final 3K to go.
Yeah, final 2.1K to go, a 1.2K long tunnel. Here we have Mollema and Rodriguez catching up with Paul Doppel here again. So those three athletes are together and probably seeing here another attack by maybe Bauke Mollema. Last dance for him, ending an incredible professional career when in the age of 39 actually. You have to really mention that one. It was incredible show by Bauke with that victories written down in his Vita.
Here you can see Gregor just asking for the time gap, which is guy. He pulled a little face then, but he's got 2.5K to go. He just has to grit his teeth together as we now have a group of 3 behind. And you can just see Bauke Mollema is with his experience, just setting his own pace. He knows what his limit is and is just not going over that. And yeah, it's working out for him. It looks like Paul Doppel is maybe struggling a tiny bit. Obviously had to go very deep to stay with Gregor Mühlberger, and now he's maybe paying for his effort a little bit.
Yeah, he also needs to dig pretty deep here to keep the connection to Mollema and Rodriguez. Oh, look at that gear here by Gregor Mühlberger on the last 2.3K.
Also racing without a bottle, so saving every gram possible. So yeah, I mean, incredible ride at the moment from Gregor Mühlberger. He's not even in the sight of these 3 riders. As we just see here, Paul Doppel struggling to hold on to the back of the wheel of these 2 riders chasing Gregor Mühlberger.
What a fantastic final here of the Queen Stage of the 75th Tour of Austria, presented by Lidl, all the way up to the highest mountain of Austria.
Over 2,300 meters above sea level, so incredibly high, beautiful scenery, and we've got an Austrian in an Austrian stage race, leading the race in the leader's jersey, riding towards his second stage win.
Winning that prestigious Glockner King. After 11 or 12 years of waiting, he is back on the podium. Last victory for Gregor Mühlberger on the Glockner 2014, and he will be the next Austrian, or the second Austrian after Felix Großschartner 2015, to be crowned as the new king here. 1.8K to go, 4 hour 41 minutes in the race after 188K with 2,970 plus meters of elevation gain, ending up all the way up on the Grossglockner Franz-Josef-Höhe.
Yeah, it's an incredibly strong ride here from Gregor Mühlberger, and we've got 1.7 kilometers left, and the final kilometer does actually flatten out a tiny bit. So yeah, he's doing an incredible ride here. Also gaining, he also wants to ride as hard as possible to gain as much time in the GC battle. He obviously had 15 seconds yesterday to Kevin Baukeler, but he's also dropped out the back at the moment. So yeah,
I can only imagine what Thomas Binder is right now shouting in his ear here after an incredible team performance of the national team. Here we have the chasers with Kevin Vermeek, then still in it from Team Repsol, Thoralf Martinsen, also incredibly performance, and we have James Shaw from EF Education Easy Post. And now that is that part I said, that last tunnel in front of the finish area. 1.3K to go. In any moment we will see the Flamme Rouge in the middle of the tunnel.
And I think that group of 4 was actually catching Paul Doppel, so it might be an interesting fight still for the podium of today's stage. But yeah, I mean, Gregor Mühlberger, I think, around 25 seconds, 30 seconds ahead of these 2 riders at the moment. And
Paul Doppel still here. Paul Doppel still trying to attack one more time Bauke Mollema and Rodriguez. Carlos Rodriguez from that company, Ineos. So he's still got something left in the tank, and he still tries to really grab that second place after incredible performance yesterday. He's still on it, but Rodriguez and Mollema keeps the pace up, sticks or glues themselves to the back wheel of the British here.
Yeah, now Gregor Mühlberger should be going through the Flamme Rouge, and they should be flattening out now, so it's looking really good for the Austrian rider. Also to win the stage, to extend his lead, and yeah, I mean, incredible for the home crowd as well to be seeing this.
That's for sure incredible. Even though we are pretty high up, we are right now in the middle of the finish area. We can see here the announcers Marco Janik waiting for an incredible win of Gregor Mühlberger. 900 meters to go. A smile on his face, and yeah, he seeks for redemption. He got redemption a second time in that 5 days long stage race, the Lidl Tour of Austria. And for sure, dear Amelie, it is my top pick. It was my top pick. So now it is my time to shine with the predictions. That was incredibly strong by Gregor Mühlberger. 700 meters to go with a beautiful look to the Pasterze and to the Grossglockner.
Also incredible that he can win his second stage in a row at the Lidl Tour of Austria, also being a solo victory. There's definitely something special being able to win a race on your own, not having to think about the tactics of when to attack, and he can now just soak in all the local fans with 500 meters to go.
500 meters to go. He really enjoys that last 500 meters. All his fans are so incredible to having his family joining him the whole Lidl Tour of Austria, and now
just smiling into the camera, and now we can really enjoy the flatter section
meters
of this race. Incredible climb from Gregor Mühlberger.
Incredible. Oh yeah, that's just one word to describe that performance by Gregor Mühlberger.
Second victory in a row at the Lidl Tour of Austria 2026, and the new Glockner König. Last time 2014, youngest Glockner König.
Youngest Glockner König 2014. Now with team change to Lidl track again. Glockner König, 100 meters to go after 188 with an incredible performance. One more time, it is the Austrian. One more time, it is Gregor Mühlberger. It is second victory in a row.
Incredible.
Outstanding.
Amazing race.
Amazing by Mühlberger. Hyping up the fans at the Franz-Josef-Höhe. But now, let's just have a look back. Is it Paul Doppel? Is it Carlos Rodriguez? Or is it Bauke Mollema? That was an intense one. That was an intense one. After more than 4 hours and 40 minutes of racing, we come probably to a sprint final by those 3 athletes.
But now we have the Kevin Baukeler, but or has Bauke Mollema dropped down?
Kevin Vermeek, this is, and also James Shaw is back here. So 200 meters, a complete different picture here again with Kevin Vermeek. Then we have Bauke Mollema, we have James Shaw here coming into the finish area, and it is James Shaw in second place. Then Bauke Mollema. Then we have Kevin Vermeek here currently placed in second place after yesterday's stage here, and Paul Doppel. Then another Ineos.
I think that was Andrew August coming in there, and then the best Conti rider.
Yeah, that was Torvald Martinsen.
That was a bit of a shake-up to the last picture we saw. The group of 4 managed to make it back up to the 3 chasers, and so we had a little bit of a different outcome there for the second, third place. Wow.
Wow. That's just wow. What an incredibly what an incredible, sorry for always saying incredibly, I don't know, I'm just too flashed full of that. Yeah, perfect stage, perfect Queen stage, the first real mountain finish of this year's Tour of Austria. Tomorrow we will have another one.
And you also have to give it to the whole Austrian squad for riding on the front today. From the moment we switched on, they were on the front riding for Gregor Mühlberger. So yeah, I mean, and then he managed to pull it off and pay the team back. So
yeah, it was a nervous start for the whole peloton with an early breakaway of 8 riders in front for like more than 100 plus K, and Gregor Mühlberger back.
Already on the trainer again.
Already on the trainer.
Yeah, it's super important now just to get your legs spinning, to try and get the lactate out of your legs. It really helps recovery to start it as soon as possible, but yeah, I think he can enjoy this one.
Yeah, he can be happy for sure. Next one from Jaco Alula, 3 minutes and 14 seconds already behind.
Yeah, so Gregor Mühlberger came through the finish line with a 1 minute 10 advantage over James Shaw, and Kevin Vermerk actually was in 3rd place, so also 1 minute 10 back.
Bauke Mollema in 4th place, also 1 minute 10. Then we have Carlos Rodriguez, 1 minute 16. And Victor Wedekind, Rembe rad-net, another incredibly strong Conti rider. No, sorry, Thoralf Martinsen was just switching lines, 1 minute 28. Andrew August, 1 minute. Here the replay one more time for Gregor Mühlberger. Yeah, that was a bit of a...
Nodding his head there.
Nodding.
Saying...
yeah.
Yeah, I think he's going to enjoy this one. In front of home crowds in Austria, 2nd stage win in a row at Little Tour of Austria, 2nd time winning it solo in the leader's jersey. I think that's quite special.
Yeah, that is for sure quite special for the 32 years old Gregor Mühlberger. Yeah, it seems to be a bit cold up there.
Yeah, we've got the woolly hats on, so I'm guessing that I don't think the Gregor Mühlberger will be riding down today. He'll be getting a car ride down, but now we're just waiting for the rest of the riders to get to the finish. And here we can see the official results list. So yeah, 1 minute 10, his advantage today. 1
minute 10 for the next stage is coming up. Next one.
And Ineos with 3 riders in the top 10, probably not quite the result they were hoping for. They did a very good lead out for Carlos Rodriguez, but he just didn't have it quite in the end. Andrew August then did his turn, pulled off, and obviously rode his own pace, which was a very good pace, only finishing a minute 26 down. So again, another top 10 result for Andrew August here.
Tomorrow, also, again, 189.5k to go, 2,350 meters in elevation gain from Lienz to St. Johann Alpendorf, and then we are saying goodbye to the mountains and going a bit more to the east.
Yeah.
To the flattish parts then.
Today was definitely the Queen stage of the Little Tour of Austria, but we had an incredible show up the Grossglockner climb. And I think we're preparing here for the interview, but he's just on the trainer, drinking his cherry juice.
Yeah.
And already starting the recovery for tomorrow's stage.
Starting that recovery, and he probably looking forward to another interview wearing that red jersey, knowing that he just won another stage here at the Tour of Austria. That's quite an impressive building there.
Yeah, it is, right? With the cars on the roof.
Yeah. That's nice. And it is an impressive finish.
Yeah, at 2,300 meters. That's quite incredible.
Yeah.
And it's
After
not
an
often.
impressive stage. No, it's not often.
It's not often you get up that high, yeah. Yeah, an incredible course for today's Queen stage. Finishing with that big climb, 1,300 meters it was then altogether. So yeah. And I think the temperature up there will be a bit cooler, but I'm sure the athletes will appreciate it riding up there.
Yeah, for sure. Also here being next to the glacier and now the GC again, Gregor Mühlberger. First place, 1 minute 31 to Kevin Vermeerke with the bonus seconds in it. Then Bauke Mollema 1 minute 41 in third place. Carlos Rodriguez 1 minute 47. And Paul Dobbel after an incredible performance here again. Probably a bit pissed about that communication up to the Kaiser-Franz-Josef-Höhe. Like you can remember the pictures where he was shouting towards Gregor Mühlberger. Gregor Mühlberger was a bit smiling there.
Yeah, I think he just knew Gregor Mühlberger knew he was feeling well or feeling good. He could go with Paul Dobbel, but he didn't feel the need to ride with him because he felt comfortable with Carlos Rodriguez coming back. So yeah, I mean he did everything right then. He then just rode Paul Dobbel off the wheel. He didn't even attack from behind. But
and now it's time to hear Gregor Mühlberger.
With your second king of the Grossglockner.
I'm super happy but quite exhausted, to be honest. Yeah, you can feel the altitude every 150 meters, I would say. So, yeah, I have to say thanks to the whole team. They rode an amazing race. Way faster actually than we thought, or we wanted to go, but yeah, there was no holding back for Sebastian and Valle. So shout out to these guys, and also for the first hour until the breakaway went, it was just a superb job from the guys. So I could save energy. Yeah.
You did an impressive attack at 4K6. What was in your mind at that time?
I wanted to go with Paul. We agreed with each other, and then he struggled a bit, and I thought like, yeah, well, I might take the chance and try it again. Because it was headwind, it was not so easy. But yeah, I just took the opportunity and went for it.
Back in 2014, you are the youngest king of the Grossglockner. Is the feeling different right now?
It is different because now I'm back with, or I'm king of the Grossglockner with the leader's jersey on my shoulders, and yeah, and with an amazing team behind me. So I hope I can give the guys back something the next days, and yeah, once again, shout out to them.
You're hungry for more stages now, or it's just bringing home the jersey?
I really want to bring home the jersey, actually. But yeah, it will be tough 3 days coming up. So yeah, let's see. For tomorrow, there might be a chance for the breakaway, or we try to control it for our fast guys.
Thank you, all the best for tomorrow.
Thank you.
Gregor Mühlberger, incredible, and also huge sportsmanship to honor his team and to bring out a huge shout out to all of them. Yeah, that was an incredible second stage. Austrian team, you think probably a breakaway chance there?
well, he did just mention that he wants to pay back the team. He wants maybe a breakaway day for tomorrow, so maybe there'll be a chance for the Austrian national team to get into the breakaway and go for the stage. Not with Gregor Mühlberger, with the rider.
For us, we're done again. It was an incredible second stage. Thank you very much, Amelie, for sitting next to me and bringing in all those 100% predictions. That was amazing.
No.
But I had the best one today.
You were
and
correct
also
today.
thank you for everybody tuning in and watching that second stage of the 75th Lidl Tour of Austria. And we're seeing and hearing you again and reading for you again tomorrow when it comes up to the third stage of the Lidl Tour of Austria. Thank you all and have a good one.
Yeah, thank you very much and enjoy the next 3 stages of the Lidl Tour of Austria.